What's up, guys? It's me, your man, also known as AbsoluteHabibi. Today we are going to be doing a really fun thing. We're going to be looking at some saves, if they are valid saves, and rank nations that I've played in EU5. And by play, I mean, at least 100 years of gameplay, and give them a fun rating. Okay, so this is completely subjective. It's my own personal fun rating, but it's important that we have some criteria, right? The criteria we'll be looking at is if the nation has a lot of replayability, the content, and by content, I don't necessarily just mean like, oh, they have a lot of content, oh, S tier. I mean how the content plays out, how the game mechanics play out for that nation, because there's some nations on this list that don't necessarily have content, but due to their situation, where they are in the world, what you can do with them, they might get a higher rating, and how much fun I had playing these nations, right? Again, this is completely subjective. This is from my own experience, and just to say it again, almost 1,000 hours. I'm a little under 1,000 hours. I ended up calculating. It's like 683 plus 60 plus 111 plus 200. What does that turn out to, chat? Is that 1,000? Is that 1,000? Someone do the math. I think that's almost 1,000. But yes, so a lot of this playtesting was as a QA tester. I was basically doing exploratory testing where I was given a task. They would say, all right, do this, explore these, and play to this point of the game. So a lot of these nations, actually, I played to 1836. Not necessarily because, oh, I really wanted to. And some of these nations, yeah, they all the way through the game, a lot of content and a lot of things you can do with the nation. But because part of my work was to make sure that they were fun all the way through and gave them suggestions. And a lot of those suggestions and changes were actually implemented into the game. So shout out to Paradox Sinto for not only having me, but also taking what I say not as like a grain of salt, but like actually considering what I have to say. And there's a lot of things that I theorized for future content that really I hope that gets added into the game, but we won't know until it gets added into the game. And I'm not going to talk about those things because I'm not at the liberty to talk about those things. So here's the tier list. Here's the nations. And again, it's not, you might be a bit confused with this list because, there's no France, there's no England, there's no Aragon, there's no Papal States, there's a lot of nations in here because I didn't want to put on nations that like I just played a little bit or I saw other people play them. But I actually played at least 100 years of gameplay, at least 100 years. But most of these nations on the list, I've played more than 100 years. I have played for quite a bit, and some of them even to 1836. And we have a system here, S, A, B, C, D. Of course, S is the best. And the more it's close to the left, the better it is. So some of these I have saves for them, and we will be looking at those saves, which is why I also have EU4 open in the background. Right here, as you can see right here. We have EU5 open in the background, and we'll be loading into those saves. Some of them I do not have a save, but I still will showcase something that I'm talking about, and we will be going through them. So let's get right into it. Before we do that though, Twitch chat, since this is live, do you have any questions? How many hours? So let's do the math real quick. 1 second, chat. خليها معك. لا انا منيح هلا. اعطيني 100 منهم. شكرا. الله. اي ساعة بتخلص؟ انت؟
انا يمكن اي ساعة بدك انت؟
As long as you wanna stay, like as long as possible.
As long يعني 11 12
مثل ما بدك. بس يعني as long as you want. I just ate. So what? He said ما بيأثر على البشر. أنا غسلت. أكلت the rest of the مندي.
ليه؟
تمام. إيه أكلت كتير. يلا. بدك شيء؟ يلا أوكي. اللي إذا بدك شيء. Alright, sorry about that, chat. Random dad pop in. You're not muted. Montry, thank you for the sub. Alright, so yeah. These are the nations that I have on my list. We're gonna go back to showing the list. But let me quickly calculate the hours. So it's 111 plus 680 plus 31 plus 208. 1,030 hours. 1,030 hours! Oh my god. That's crazy. But it's fine though, because it was part of my work, you know? And even Generalist, you know? Did he tell his chat that? Generalist was working too as part of a contract worker. I don't know if he told his chat that. If he didn't tell his chat that, then never mind. I didn't say anything. But yeah, like a lot of people at Tinto really valued his opinion, and I think that's really cool because Generalist is a really smart guy, and I'm really happy for him. You know, no evil eye here. We say mashallah, mashallah. Thank you for the sub. What's your? Are you the guy that posts? Wait, Moss the Tank. Are you the guy that posts on the forums all the time about Georgia? I haven't played Georgia yet. Here's the list of nations. Let's go back to the list of nations. I have to keep doing this. Nope, not that one. Nope. Yeah, there we go. Here's the list of nations. Ottomans, Granada, Naples, Castile, Portugal, Brandenburg, Poland, Muscovy, Yuan, Ming, Ashikaga. I played as Shimazu, but a lot of the Japanese daimyos play the same. They don't have unique flavor, not yet. Greenland, Hungary, Austria, Vijayanagar, Delhi, Mamluks, and Ayyubids, which I'm also doing an active campaign on, but I've played them twice before. Okay, so these are the nations that I've had at least 100 years. These are the nations that I've had at least 100 years of gameplay with. Many of them more than 100 years. Ottomans, more than 100 years. Naples, I reached to 1600. Granada, I reached to about 1600. Castile, I only played about like 100 years on them. Portugal, that's the video I just did. I played them twice. One time it was during the exploration and colonization development diary because they needed images. So I played them, and then I played them for real for YouTube. And I saved that for the YouTube video so we can learn together. Brandenburg, only the first 100 years. Poland, about 200 years. Muscovy, into the late 1600s. First time, second time was the YouTube video for the Europa Universalis channel. That one was to 1600. Yuan, first 100 years. Ming, all the way to 1836. Ashikaga, all the way to 1836. Shimazu, 1400. Greenland for 100 years. Hungary, 1700. Austria, 200 years. Vijayanagar, all the way to 1800. Delhi, first 100 years. Mamluks, first 100 years. And then Ayyubids, I had like 3 campaigns and one we're doing right now. Have you played anything in the New World? No, this is it. This is it. So if there's a nation on here, I don't know. How is Georgia, though, to answer your question? Indeed, I am. What's your impression of Georgia? I don't know, dude. I haven't looked into it. I haven't played it. A lot of my testing was very focused, okay? This is something you have to know. A lot of my... Oh, I'm missing a nation. I'm missing a very important nation. Give me 1 second, chat. I'm missing a very, very important nation, actually. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, chat. I I need to go to Tinto Flags. Next step diary. Next step diary. Next step diary. Step diary. Next step diary. Step diary. Step diary. Step diary. Next step diary. Next step diary. Oh, we're getting close. Tinto Flags 3. I think. Tinto Flags 3. It's Venice. And I can't believe I missed that nation because Venice is a really good nation. Tinto Flags 3. Tinto Flags 3. Sorry, technical issues. Yeah. There we go. Oh, let me do that. Venice. I'm gonna put Venice like around here. Okay. So we should put it right around Naples. Okay. Missed one. Venice. Venice I played into the late 1600s and I have an active campaign going on with Venice. We have an active campaign. All right. So yeah, any questions from Twitch chat before we go in? Now for real. Yeah, I don't know about that. I think this man is found in Portugal. Yep. Is Hungary a fun admin tall campaign? We'll go into details about that shortly. Love to hear your opinion on Toot and Sag. I didn't play them. I'm not gonna start talking about a nation I didn't play, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry if a nation that you care about is not on this list. I'm not gonna talk about a nation that I didn't play at least 100 years on. There's many nations I looked at. I played a little bit. I theory craft some like ideas with them, but these are just the nations that I have played. Sorry if it's not on the list. This is what I've played. Can we tell us how hard to play them as you rank them in the nations? Well, there's something really cool about that actually that I can show you right now. There's something really cool about what you just said. Something very, very cool. Very, 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 very cool. Remember though, it's a fun tier list. This is a fun tier list. This isn't a difficulty tier list. It's not, oh, this is the most OP nation tier list. It's my subjective idea of what makes a nation fun in EU5. My own opinion. Drinking my little coffee. So if you go into here, you can do difficulty, sort by difficulty. And guess what, chat? I was part of the team that made the difficulty ranks for these nations. I was part of the big team and we decided together what the difficulty for these nations are. So I had some input on this. You can put the nations based off of difficulty. So if you are looking for a very easy nation, an easy nation, a medium nation, a hard nation, or a very hard nation, you can through here. Great for, no, they're not determined by an algorithm, the difficulty. These were determined by playtesters that played those nations and they put them together as a certain thing. Oh my. Hello. All right, yeah. So on top of that, we also gave the nation like what you would be primarily focusing on when you play that nation: politics, expansion, and I think the other one's economy. Okay, so wasn't criticism, and you didn't apologize. Simply acknowledge the sitch and comment on it. I have to hear that you have to say about the other nations, though. Oh no, I'm not. I didn't say as a complaint, but some people will complain. How's the AI? I think that maybe after your sixth, seventh playthrough, you will figure out the ways to. I mean, unless you watch YouTubers and you see people who do play-by-plays and you play like them, probably will be even easier. But yeah, I do think I'm in the personal boat that the game should be a bit more difficult. I don't know, sue me. But at the same time, like I don't know because accessibility, right? 6-7, yeah, 6-7, 6-7, chat. All right. So yeah, and you can see a lot of these nations. They have difficulties. These aren't like algorithmic or AI based difficulties. These are difficulties set by the team at Tinto and some of the contract QA people, including myself, that played these nations and determined their difficulty. You can also sort by the amount of flavor they have. So this will sort nations by the amount of unique flavor they have. If you want to see nations by their unique flavor, okay. Yeah. All right. So let's get into this tier list, and we will also go through. We will also go through here. All right. So let's begin. And I'll be reading channel, answer questions in between the tiering them. How's Sweden as a country in terms of flavor? Well, let's take a quick look. Sweden. Easy, and it says it's a politics nation. Probably because they start in a PU over Scania and Norway and Iceland. In terms of flavor, Sweden is behind Denmark. Johan? Secretly a Dane? Chat? Sweden, I didn't personally play, but there was a certain person at Paradox that was playing Sweden, and I basically like helped him out with his campaign on Sweden, with him live streaming his game on Discord, and I basically like, oh, you should do this. Have you tried doing this? Oh, you should try doing this. Norway and Sweden suffer from the same problem. They have low pops, and their pops are kind of scarce. Very cool campaigns for trying to like focus your pops around a region. Also, maritime presence plays a very large factor into playing Scandinavian countries, so you need to have some kind of naval presence. And the thing is, if like Sweden, you want to be like they have very good quality. If we look at Sweden, they actually start with their 20 ICA that they do in EU4. They have 20 ICA. It's not called ICA, it's called IP now. Alibor, thank you for the sub. Alibor, yeah. 20%. Yeah, they have very good. Oh, they also have an extra government reform. That's really big. They have 5 discipline in Age of Renaissance. They have iron output, 10%. That's not that big. Proximity cost -5. That's pretty nice. 15% manpower. They have a unique cavalry unit, a unique infantry unit. They have 33 crown power. They have tools output and copper output. They have raw material output. Oh, what the hell? A government reform. I don't know if I would ever do take this government reform though. Mine is 100% crown power. Food production. And pop growth. What? What? Okay, so Sweden's OP, chat. 2%? It's a cabinet action, so maybe it needs to have below a certain amount of pops in order for it to work. Does Bulgaria have any content? They have 6 unique advances. Crown power, tolerance of true faith, speed of integration 10%, fort defense, fort limit, max literacy, culture tradition, and religious influence and monthly religious influence. Okay, and they also have 63 DHEs. That's actually quite a lot. This is insane. It's a cabinet action. It doesn't say when you unlock it either. Dr. Shido Puff 69, thank you for the sub. There's a threshold for the 2% pop growth. Okay, so there's a threshold. But on top of settlements, you can populate sparsely populated areas super quickly. Super quickly. No. It's like Vic 3 pop growth. Yeah. It's you can populate sparsely populated areas super quickly with this. That's the entire idea. And then you on top of the settlement building. Pretty cool event. Miss your YouTube videos? I just posted 2 YouTube videos within 3 days. All right. So let's get into the first nation. Okay, let's do this, chat. Let's do that. I'll answer questions in between tier lists, so it's easier for me to edit this video for YouTube tomorrow. But you guys as stream viewers, you get to ask me questions and we get to talk about the game that the YouTube viewers don't get to do. So thank you for joining on the YouTube stream. On the Twitch stream. Thank you for the subs and thank you for the love and support. So first we're going to talk about the Ottomans. Oh boy, the Ottomans. This nation is rank 3 in most unique flavor in the game. They have 44 unique country bonuses, 190 dynamic historical events. If you don't know what DHEs are or dynamic historical events are, they're basically events that get triggered by you doing something in game. So in the case of the Ottomans, let's say, you conquer Constantinople, you get a unique event that lets you move Constantinople as your capital for free. If you conquer Adrianopolis or Edirne before conquering Constantinople, you will get an event to move your capital to Edirne and move it there for free. Of course, if you conquer Constantinople first, which many of you guys will probably do, you won't get the event for Edirne. And a lot of these events are like that. It's like, oh, you conquered this area, you get claims over here. Oh, you did this, you get an event for this. So they're basically like hidden events, kind of like a mission tree, but you don't know where they are, and you don't like really you just get them while playing the game, right? Thank you for the sub. Do you think a world conquest is possible in this game? Yes, and my next campaign after we do the EU bids campaign will be a world conquest attempt. Yeah. If you combine that with rural settlement, it'll go crazy. Yep, exactly. How many events does Denmark have? They're higher up on the flavors list. So Sweden has 63, 15 unique country bonuses. Denmark has 14 and 70 DHEs. I think they're like more focused around... Ooh, trade capacity 25 is huge. True rulers of the north. Efficiency cabinet, galley power. Okay. I personally dislike countries getting historical events which go around in-game mechanics, like the instantaneous coring of Edirne and Constantinople. Yes, I did actually. We'll go through the list. All right. So let me just focus on doing one country at a time, or we're going to be here forever, and I actually want to play some EU5 today. So Ottomans are a nation that have a lot of unique content, not Denmark. They have a lot of unique content. They have a unique situation, the Rise of the Turks, that lets you become an empire rank very easily, lets you get claims on the Balkans and Anatolia by using money instead of having to wait for parliament action. You get events to turn other beyliks into vassals. You get events to encourage migration from other Turkic beyliks into your nation. And what's really cool about Ottoman's flavor is that if you become the strongest Turk, you get Ottoman's DHEs. So if you become the strongest Turk and you progress through the Rise of the Turk situation as like Kermanids or Eretinids or even like Saruhanids, which have a very cool flag, you will overtake all of Ottoman's unique flavor, which I think is very cool. But Ottomans are one of those nations that are very fleshed out by release. They're very, very fleshed out. They also have a hidden disaster. Not a lot of people know about that. They have a decadence disaster. Should I reveal how you trigger the decadence disaster? Because in EU5, unlike EU4, where you can see, oh, here's what I need to do to not get the disaster. In EU5, you don't get notified that there's a possible disaster until the disaster has a chance of popping. It's fun like that because you play the nation for the first time unless you watch some like YouTube video and see someone else dealing with it. You'll play the nation and then you get the pop-up and you're like, whoa, I'm getting a disaster. But yeah, there is a decadence disaster. You have to be an empire rank to get it. And I won't go through all the triggers, but one of the triggers are if you have a certain amount of pops that are not tolerated, not accepted, not tolerated. So if you have a certain amount of your pops not tolerated, and it depends on the age, you can get decadence events throughout the Ottomans and get the decadence disaster. Ottomans are a super cool nation, and I recommend them as a nation for your first time. I spent my first 100 hours just playing Ottomans. I played and I learned the mechanic and I restarted. I played, I learned a mechanic and I restarted. I played, I learned a new mechanic, I restarted. I played, I learned a new mechanic and I restarted. And it was super refreshing also from my personal experience with all of these nations. There was no guide videos, there was no YouTube video, there was no guy telling you, oh, this is super OP. I just played them and then I figured out things on my own. And that was the case with all of those nations. And that was something that I haven't experienced in a game in so long. And it reminded me that maybe you shouldn't watch those kind of like guide type videos. And I'm not trying to hate on any YouTubers that make those like step-by-step guides. But I'm just saying that for some people, I feel like going in just like blind is a much more fun experience than like figuring out what's the best, copying it, doing it yourself. Ottomans is an amazing nation to explore the mechanics of EU5, a great beginner nation, which is why it also has the very easy ranking. You can actually take Byzantium day one if you want to. For me personally, I like to play a little bit LARPy, go a little bit for Anatolia. Then first war against Byzantines, I get into the European side, and then I take a little bit, and then I wait for cannons to go for Constantinople. Even though you could siege Constantinople without cannons, you can siege it without cannons, but it will just take like 4 or 5 years. I personally, I did prefer to play a more like RP aspect. Ottomans are a very fleshed out nation, very fun, especially for beginner players. Really cool nation, a lot of love in this nation. I know exactly the person that did most of the flavor content, and he's a really cool guy. So for all of those reasons, chat, Ottomans gets an S tier in terms of fun. Great nation. You might not find it as fun when you like have more hours, and you may find it like too easy. Maybe even as a beginner nation, if you're like more experienced with Paradox titles, you might find it as like too easy, but definitely a great nation for people that want to play the game for the first time. And you can set like a lot of your own goals. Like for me, after I played Ottomans again later on, I set the goal to basically go for historic Ottoman borders by 1680, which is like peak of Ottoman borders, which I was able to do, and it was a lot of fun. and basically, you know, you take on all of the Europeans with your OP units, and you know, you just fight all of the Europeans. You go on, you get all of the Black Sea. You defeat the Mamluks, who are a nice like step up challenge after consolidating Anatolia and Balkans. You go down and you fight the Mamluks, which is a really nice challenge because Mamluks AI tends to be very strong. Like almost in every single game I played, the Mamluks AI is always very strong. So it's a nice, really fun challenge. And then, you know, taking on all the Europeans, going into the 1700s. And then you also have that decadence in the background that you can potentially trigger. I'm not going to go through the triggers of that event. So that's my first S tier nation. No, there's no release day MP. We didn't reach the sub goal. Is Meme Luke still a thing or no? Yeah. 61% Greek, yeah. So actually, funny thing is that Greek starts hostile to Turkish, so you have to figure that out. There's a bunch of ways to go around that, or you could just assimilate all the Greeks into Turks and settle Turkish people in Greek lands from the other Turkish beyliks. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not doing a day one MP. Does Iran we looked at it yesterday, Phase Dank. Persia has, especially Shia Persia. What is Paradox trying to say by that? Shia Persia has a lot of unique content. What do you expel them to Congo? Or yeah, you can expel them to Congo. I'll cover that later. I don't have a recent Ottoman save. And that's because the Ottomans was like my first. I was playing it a lot on older builds. So like back in May and June, I was playing a lot of Ottomans, and that save is no longer valid on the current state of the game. It will just crash if I try to load that version of the game. Shia Persia, yeah. Shia Persia has a lot of content. They have a unique building. They have unique mechanics. They have two unique units. Consolidating Persia is very tough though, and also the control mechanics are very tough there. Cappadocian Greek, no, not right now. Cappadocian Greek culture. Where's Cappadocia? Is it like here or here? I forget. No, this is Pontic. No, wait, where is Cappadocia? This guy, man. Any Zoroastrian content? There is. Oh, it's right here. There's no Greeks. Oh, there's some Greeks here. Bunch of Armenians right here. Cappadocians, I got him. So Timurin to Persia and to, I don't know, we realized yesterday in order to form Persia, your capital needs to be here. That's also a mechanic that's in EU5 that's not in EU4. Formables don't show unless you have your capital in a certain region. Let's say you play as the Knights Hospitaries. I don't have debug mode on, so I don't know why I did this. But let's say you conquer Jerusalem and conquer the Palestine state. No, it's just, what is it called? Not areas. I think it's province. Yeah, if you conquer this province, this is a really nice province. Wow. A lot of locations in one province. That makes it really good. Because some locations are like one province. I mean, some provinces are just one location, and some are big, like in India. You don't get the pop-up to form Jerusalem until you move your capital into this province specifically. I want to play as the Knights. Yeah, that's on the list. That's on the list. My list right now for single player... My list for now for single player is Ayyubids, which I'm doing right now. Timurids, World Conquest attempt. Then after Timurids, I wanted to do either Knights or Brandenburg. Brandenburg I also want to try in multiplayer, because we're also going to do multiplayer starting this Friday. Not on my server. How do Timurids play? I haven't played them, but I've watched other people play them, and I've also read reports from people playing them. From what I understanding is, in the hands of a player, Timurids is really strong. You can conquer all of China and India in Timur's lifespan and Persia. It was actually pretty funny. It was not a tester that did that. but it was the influencer manager for Paradox. Not even at Tinto. It was just one of the people working at Paradox did it. And I was like, this is really impressive. And he's like, yeah, dude, I have like 1,600 hours in EU5. And I was like, what the hell? Yeah. Yeah, Brandenburg is considered a very hard nation. We'll cover that. What the hell? All right. The next nation we're looking at is Grenada. Ooh, Grenada. This is Grenada right here. They actually have 4 DHEs, 4 dynamic history events, and they do have some unique advances. Manpower, building cost, diplomatic range, army movement speed, merc cost, food production 20%, trade maintenance, trade efficiency, speed of integration 20%, strong rule 10%, raw materials output 20%, army morale 15%, monthly literacy 10, max literacy and monthly literacy 0.02, manpower, war on different religion costs, another manpower buff, and unique building Al Hamra, which I think is like it's a one-time building that you build. Yeah, it's a one-time building. It's not like you spam this. You build this once. Crown power. So this is like a monument that only Grenada has access to. That's like the EU4 equivalent. We talked about monuments yesterday. Monuments have been basically reworked into 3 different things. They're either a work of art, they're either a religious holy site, or they're a building like this one, where it's like you build it once, it costs money. Another example of that is the Kremlin for Muscovy, and it gives your nation global bonuses. Alhambra. Yeah. If you micro a lot, Jacob, Chip, yes, games can take a long time. They can take a full campaign, if you're playing just speed 5, blasting through the game, you take basically like 20 hours. If you are playing like very micro intensive and you have a lot of pops and you're just microing every little single thing, you could, a full playthrough will take like 60, 70 hours. My Portugal campaign took about 40 hours, the one that I did a YouTube video on. Yeah. So, yeah. So, Granada. Okay. This nation, I played it. I reformed Andalusia. They have some really nice, unique advances that you get throughout the game. And it is possible to do it. The general strategy of playing Granada that I found works is either do one of 2 things. You either take this from Castile in the First War, and then you expand into Aragon, who's much easier to take on than Castile, or you do the same thing into Portugal, and then you get more power base through there. The main problem while playing Granada is your cultures. So the culture of Andalusian and Castilian, they're both hostile to each other. They're sworn enemies, which means that it's giga expensive in terms of culture capacity to accept Castilian. So really the only solution that you can do outside of becoming friends with Castile, which doesn't work because they covet your lands, is you basically culture convert all of Castilian into Andalusian, which makes the process of reconquista a very long and tough one. But it is possible to win. It is possible to win. And it can be a rewarding experience. The biggest downside to playing Granada, outside of the unique advances that you get, is that the Andalusian formable doesn't give you anything. And this is kind of makes me a little sad, but you know, I'm from my understanding, potentially Andalusia will get more flavor with the Iberian flavor pack that is planned already on the timeline. But that being said, you still have some really OP advances in your advanced tree. Some of them you unlock right away, like Banu Nasr, the children of Nasr. Even this one, 20% food production is actually insane. 20% food production is amazing. But the gameplay loop of, okay, well, I can't really take Castilian, or I'm gonna have to deal with continuous rebellions and I can't accept the culture, so even though I'm weakening Castile, I'm not really getting as strong as I would like. And then you would also have to expand into either Portugal or Aragon to really create a strong power base. It makes me want to put Granada in the C tier. They are C tier. Yes, it could be fun forming Andalusia, but I really feel that this content is lacking. The nation is lacking a little bit more content than, you know, a little more content. But the next patch that updates them, this will probably jump up to A or maybe even S, depends on what gets added to them. They are, Andalusian is part of Iberian, Maghrebi, and Arabic. So that means that Aragonese and Portuguese, remember, Castilian sees them as enemies. I don't know, actually. Let me do something real quick. I think these guys start with Andalusian. Yeah, okay, it hasn't changed. So yeah, as Granada, because Andalusian's actually a very strong culture group because it has Iberian, Maghrebi, Arabic. That means that accepting Iberian, Maghrebi, and Arabic cultures, all three of them are cheaper. Of course, you can't do that to Castilian because Castilian sees you as an enemy, a sworn enemy. So you probably will never accept Castilian. But all the other Iberian cultures you can accept cheaply in terms of culture capacity. And not only that, as Granada, you can expand into Morocco, Tunis, and even potentially the whole Arabian world. And it would be cheaper to do it. At some point, maybe I'll try Granada again. You know, maybe my take will change. It's just that when I played Granada, it wasn't as fun as I would hope to. And maybe I'm giving it lower rating because I really see Granada as a nation that could be very fun. And again, this is subjective. This is my subjective take. You know, some people disagree with me. But Granada, to me, is like one of those nations that are very fun, alt history. Like, what if Granada somehow reconquisted Iberia? That's really cool to me. But yeah, they do have some OP advances, but it is a struggle, and the difficulty doesn't play a factor in fun. As a matter of fact, some of these nations are very difficult, but they're still very much fun. But the idea that it's like you're not really, by the gameplay mechanics, you're not really encouraged so much to go into Castile right away, but rather going into Aragon or Portugal first. Like you take a little bit of Castile so you can combine those lands, just so you're not split off by Castile in a future war. But you can make a much stronger power base because you can actually accept those cultures. In early game, culture conversion is very slow. Culture assimilation ramps up later on in the game, especially if you become the culture hegemon, then it's giga fast. But in the early game, it's very slow. So your early game is a lot of suffering. Morocco is stronger than you. Everyone's stronger than you, which is fine, and it also poses a really nice, fun challenge. But even when you start getting your power base up, it makes the gameplay mechanics kind of force you to go in ways that are not intuitive. Like it's like, all right, I should go into Portugal or Aragon because I can accept them. Actually, when I did it, I expanded into Aragon. I took a little bit here, went to Aragon. I actually have no idea because I forgot, because this was a while ago, which is why I don't have a save. No, they aren't, because I played Portugal. If Portuguese is a hostile culture to Granadan or Andalusian. No, it's not. So yeah, it's the same thing. But then you go to Castile, and this could also change as well. It could have changed since I last played it. They see each other as sworn enemies, I'm pretty sure, yeah. One thing to add though, yes, Granada does get access to all of the Iberian unique advances, all of the Maghrebi unique advances, and all of the Arabic unique advances, because they're in 3 culture groups. So that means they have the Iberian Caravel. They have the early Iberian Caravel. They don't get the ones that are locked behind Catholic, obviously, because they're not Catholic. But you could theoretically switch to Christian and then form Spain instead. But that seems very cursed. Wasn't there an announcement for that, Minesweeper? I don't know. All right. Let's go on to the next nation. I actually have a save for this. Naples. So yeah, to wrap it up, Granada easily, maybe like a year from now, 2 years from now, could jump up to an S tier nation. For now, though, I'd say C. I'd say hold off on your Granada campaigns until a little bit more gets added to them. Just a little bit more, but potentially an S tier nation. Potentially. I didn't really have that much fun playing as Granada, even though it was a kind of a fun challenge. I didn't have that much fun. Again, this is a fun tier list. Oh. You can't do that. You can't swap back and forth. When you switch to Christian to Sunni, just so you guys are aware, if you switch from Catholic to Sunni, you lose your previous advances. I'm almost certain on that, unless it gets changed. So it's not like you can switch to Catholic and then get the Catholic advances and switch to Sunni and get all of the advances and you have all of the advances of both. It doesn't work that way. You lose all of the advances from religion. Since you work on the game balance side, do you think what Flory is doing is getting fixed, or is this the main way of conquering? How is Flory? I haven't been able to watch Flory. I've been really wanting to. I was going to check out his VODs. How is Flory expanding? Let's take a quick look at Flory. How is he expanding? He's probably found some way that's not intentional, for sure. Flory's a sneaky guy, chat. Flory's a sneaky guy. I love Flory Worry, but Flory was like, oh yeah, he stopped giving feedback on game balance so he could have things to show off. I know this for a fact, Flory. I know this for a fact. Oh my god. Yeah, vassals expanding through vassals are very much intended. Yes. Yeah. He stopped giving game feedback after a while, and I was like, why do you stop giving game feedback? He's like, well, I don't want them to keep nerfing things because every time I give game feedback, they nerf it immediately. I want to abuse it first and then let them nerf it. And I was like, sneaky, you're a funny guy, dude. Ireland does have some flavor, yeah. He's creating societies to expand. Hey, just bought EU5 with your key. I'm pretty sure if you have it on Steam, you get it the preload now, but you'll get the preload tomorrow. I don't know, guys. I don't know. That's not my department. But I think you get it tomorrow before release. I think 12 hours before. I don't know. Just keep an eye on your email inbox, the one that you logged in with your Paradox account. Yeah, if you bought it on the PDX site. Levik said tomorrow mornings. Okay, there he goes. Levik knows more information than me. I can preload now. Yeah, if you bought your key through Steam, you can preload now. But if you bought it through the PDX website, I think it's tomorrow morning, Europe time. No, I'm not doing MP day one. I'm doing MP on Friday. I don't want to do I don't think you want to do MP day one, please. I thought about it more. You don't want to do MP day one. You don't want to do it. People are going to be like, wait, pause. I need to read my event. Whoa. And people are going to be death spiring. Play the game single player a little bit. Trust me on that, chat. Unless you're playing like a small group, 2-3 people. Don't do a day one MP. You're going to probably into your nation. You're probably going to want to read stuff. You're probably going to get overwhelmed. Just play single player and then play MP on the weekend. Like, give yourself a couple days, learn some more of the mechanics so you don't death spiral due to low crown power and being like, why am I not making any money? You're not gonna find the limitations. You're gonna be stuck pausing a bunch because you're confused about things. Trust me on that. But if you are adamant on playing MP, go for it, dude. More power to you. The limitations of EU5 will be... You're not going to find the limitations on that day, dude. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Yeah, you're going to be suffering. Okay. No, but what Flory's doing through vassals, but he's creating societies to expand. That's really cool. I'm not sure if that's intended, dude. Rebel Crackdown is a really strong cabinet action, I learned. It's a very, very strong cabinet action. Rebel Crackdown, very strong. Yeah, look, he's making a bunch of little vassals like that. That's how you're supposed to expand. I'm doing the same thing in my Granada. What do you mean he's creating societies? Looking good, though. Looking very good. Yeah. All right. Okay. Next nation, Naples. Naples. And this nation's actually suggested as a good beginner nation. And I actually agree with that. The way, though, I would describe playing Naples after having so many hours, and I think that it's a nice nation to learn the game. You start with cores on Sicily. Let's load it into the game. Yeah, so you start with cores on Sicily. You have 12 unique advances, but don't... So, yeah, I didn't record that. You start with cores on Sicily, which means you can fabricate, get your cores. That means that when you conquer Sicily, it's immediately taken, and you can immediately form the two Sicilies. You have 30 unique events. One of the unique event chains lets you get a union over Hungary. If you have good RNG. You also start with some land in the Balkans, so you have opportunity to expand in the Balkans. You can go through Italy. It's a nice nation to form Italy, especially since Papal State starts with good relations with you. So what you can do is have high relations with Italy, with Papal States. You're also the leader of the Gulfs and the Ghibellines situation. You're the side of the anti-HRE. You can use that situation to create CBs through spy networks to force Italians into your faction. Basically making sure that you win the situation and kick Italy out of the HRE, which is what you would want as Naples because you don't start in the HRE. And by kicking out all of the nations of the HRE, you make it easier for your future expansion of Italy. One really cool thing about Naples is that when you play Naples, you have some unique advances, right? But when you form the two Sicilies, you unlock some more unique abilities. And then when you get form Italy, you get even some more unique abilities. So it's like basically like a chain, like, oh, I got unlock some more stuff. Oh, I unlock some more stuff. And you unlock more events from forming these formables. Naples is a really good nation for your first time. The way I would describe it is as like a decent A. That's where I would put it, a decent A. And now we can load up my save where I played it because it's a semi-recent one. How can I play today? You can't play today. He doesn't know, chat. Yeah, Naples is another good beginners. Sir Lex, I see your suggestions all the time. I just saw your suggestion today. I read the forum posts a lot. I read a lot of things on the forums. And my biggest recommendation is if you have we're going to be opening up a thread, specifically a permanent thread for players to give their suggestions directly to developers. There'll be more information on that. You can see the game resources. If you go to this one, when the thread gets made, you can see it there. This is a thread that I made for people, by the way, if you haven't seen it already. This is just a quick disclaimer. I released a forum. This is a sticky forum post. The player resources for Europa Universalis V. There's tips right here for getting started. Tutorial diagrams right here. Also recommended starting nations with more breakdowns. Some general tips for government, population, economy, diplomacy, and warfare. A link to the official tutorials, which a lot of work went into these. By the way, very great videos, amazing videos, and also our community links. But when the suggestion thread gets put, it will be right here. Make a suggestion. Okay. What's the point of easy achievements? I have no idea. All right. Okay. Here's a save that I have, 16. This is a save I have, 1600s is to Sicilies. You can see that I expanded basically in all directions. I expanded into Balkans. I expanded it into Italy. I expanded into Provence. I expanded into Tunis. By the way, Provence was a personal union of mine. So was Cyprus. I integrated them through the union integration. I actually even have more of my union still. I have Perigord, which is right here. I was able to integrate those nations using the union's IO. I also have some subjects that I made over here. Yeah, generally speaking, the RGOs actually are not the best in southern Italy. In northern Italy, you have the higher development lands. Like if we go to the development map mode, you can see that northern Italy is just like way higher development than southern Italy, just due to the nature of being a bunch of city-states. And then AI using the develop cabinet action, they're doing this. And since they're one province minor, they're basically developing their entire nation the whole game. So it even gets more development as the game progresses. Here's a world map. That's what my world map looked in this. Look, England vassalized Scotland, chat. This is a bit older. And then also Castile is two locations away from forming Spain. So actually, if I kept playing this game, I think we would have saw AI Spain. So people saying that it doesn't happen, chat, what do you say to this? What do you say to this, chat? Anyways, he's two locations away. Just conquer them, dude. Just conquer them. Because they're Muslim. Yeah, they're Muslim. Okay, yeah. Just conquer them, dude. Come on. You got this, AI Castile. Yeah, but I would generally put... I would put Naples at a very high A rating. Very, very high A rating. Bump them a tier for ugly color. Two Sicilies, I don't like the color, chat. Do you like this pink color? I think their color got changed. I'm not sure how that works because this is an older save. I think their color got changed because when I was playing as Venice, they had a different color. No, their color got changed. Their color got changed. This isn't their color. I don't actually... That's funny. If you load an old save with old colors, they remain their own old color. I didn't know that. You learn something every day, chat. Yeah, it's like a dark blue teal now. So this isn't their color. That's interesting. We're gonna have to restart our game. Something we learned yesterday: if you keep loading saves in without restarting your game, the game gets a lot slower, and you're gonna notice that. Development's like a permanent stat. Development's really good because it lets you expand RGOs more, and it increases population capacity, and population capacity impacts pop growth. So development increases pop growth. It increases RGO, so you're able to extract more resources, and also increases building cap. Every location in EU5 has a building cap, but it's more of like a soft building cap, where basically you can go over the building cap, but it exponentially makes new buildings more and more expensive. Yeah. Wa alaikum salam, Fanbergen. So yeah, that's what that does. That's what that does. RGO's resource. Yeah, brothel I think is pirates. I haven't played pirates yet. I kind of want to try pirates as well at some point. I have not tried pirates yet. Okay, now we're getting to actually my favorite nation in EU5. Surprise, surprise. I'm just going to put it right now. This is S++. Wait, why can't I put it up? There we go. Venice. I said this yesterday. I'm going to say it again. Venice is the quintessential EU5 nation, dude. Dude, this guy kind of looks like the generalist. I just realized that. Are Maghrebi pirates? I mean, raiding mechanics are OP, but they were in Imperator Rome as well. Ottomans also have raiding mechanics. Basically, you occupy a location, you just steal pops. Yeah, Venice is my favorite nation in EU5. I'm actually really happy we're covering this. They have 103 unique events. They have 25 unique advances. So these are unique advances that you would get on top of Italy advances if you formed Italy. Now, it's not like EU4 where you can form the Latin Empire, but you can create the Latin Empire if you conquer Constantinople. You get an event that lets you create a Latin Empire, which is a goofy, funny event because you get an empire as a vassal, even though if you're Catholic, you cannot become an empire. Venice, in order to play Venice well, you need to play in a lot of mechanics of EU5, a lot of the new mechanics. You need maritime presence. You need to play around with trade. You have access to so many markets right off the bat. You have access to the Alexandria market. You have access to the Constantinople market. You have access to the Dubrovnik market. And this market is actually one of the best markets early game because there's a lot of silver here. A lot of silver. Just look at that. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And then Serbia 5. And then Serbia gets another silver mine. So they get 6. And then there's another silver mine here, 7. So this low key is like one of the best markets early game, Dubrovnik. Because it's a very big source of silver for whoever can control Dubrovnik. If you can control Dubrovnik, you can get a huge source of silver, and that means more minting, means more resources for your pops, and also if you have high control and high market access in the locations where the silver is, it also means high tax base, so a lot more taxes. So a lot of silver in that area. And Venice also has building-based country mechanics ingrained in it with just like normal mechanics. As Venice, you can build in other countries. You can build trading posts, and you can set up trading posts over here, and set up trading posts over here, and set up trading posts over here. And it's not like a nation where you're just gonna like blob. You can be kind of like a relatively small nation and have insane income. And lucky for you guys, I actually have a save to look at. Is Ragusa an OPM? Ragusa is an OPM and it starts as a vassal of Venice. We have a save to look at. Isn't Praha a better market? I think Praha is a better market. But Bohemia basically owns a lot of Praha. I'm speaking that it is one of the best early game markets just because of the silver. That's my take. It's one of the best early game markets. Dubrovnik. Is it easy to break independence? There's a cabinet action that you have as a subject called that basically increases your liberty desire, as long as you have the cabinet action, which lowers your lowers your independence. I mean, increases your independence, and then you can do an independence movement against your overlord. That if you have high relations with their like rivals, their rivals will join it, and you can get independence that way. Here's my Venice. Isn't this color beautiful, chat? Isn't this color beautiful? Hidden Venice event. Hidden Venice event. If you become an empire, I actually don't know all the requirements for the event, and I'm not going to look through the game files. I'll just leave it as like, oh, you can get this color. As Venice, you have a event that lets you change your color. I even conquered, you know, obviously, you know, Little Venice. You got to have Little Venice, chat. This nation is just so much fun, and you don't even need to expand as much as I did. Yeah, I'm expanding a lot here. But look, 1675, look at that income, chat. Look at that income. We're dominating so many markets. We're dominating so many markets that we're involved in. We're even having a big sway in Damascus because we turned... Oh, look, it's getting laggy because I loaded the save so many times. That's a thing. That's a thing we learned yesterday. If you load a bunch of saves, you have to restart your game. Because, look, I made Cyprus like a super city area. Made every single location a town or a city. And then I just built a bunch of marketplaces. And guess what? Now we're pulling out of Damascus. Bring me the resources. Bring me the resources. Bring them to Venice. Very cool nation. Very fun nation to play. And that's why Venice gets an S tier. I'm actually going to restart my game. You don't want a big market. Imperial Republic. Yeah, that's the title you get. It's an empire. Spoilers, I'm not making that into a video. The border highlight is ugly. Okay. How does jihad work? It's you basically can start an international jihad and different nations can join if they wish to. And then it's like crusades where a bunch of Muslim nations declare war for a certain area. As Granada, potentially you could start a jihad against Castile, get Mamluks in there. It's time for the Reconquista. You know what? Actually, that could be good. You know what? Chat, I'm bumping Granada to a low B. Low B. Low B. Low B. Low B. Okay? How was your nap? How did you know I took a nap? I did everything I needed to do today at work too, so I'm very happy about that. Let me restart my game. Let me do close-up shot just so I don't accidentally leak something. Okay. Now let's continue with this list. Let's continue with the list. We're taking so long for this. All right. Because I'm answering a lot of questions, but I want to answer your guys' questions. I want to answer your questions. Yeah, when I was new to EU5, I was going in with the Vic 3 mentality that you want gigantic markets, but it's not good due to the market access mechanic, which I actually didn't even realize until 500 hours in. That's the thing though, when you're playing a game where you're just learning it by yourself with no outside resources or material, you don't know these things. You just have to play the game and then you're like, man, why is this location not making money? I have control here. Oh, it's because it has very low market access. Oh, market access does this. Oh, I didn't know this. So it's actually good to make a bunch of markets. So markets, you don't add locations to a market. They just gain locations depending on the market attraction and the distance to the market center. No, that's what I'm saying. And I'm the barbarian. I was saying that. I was saying I recommend for a lot of you guys to learn on your own. I was saying that I haven't had a gaming experience like this in a long time. And I think it was because I was learning everything on my own. Yeah, like if you use all the resources, you can get much better at EU5 much faster than I did. But learning all those mechanics on your own is just such a fun experience. It's such a fun experience, chat. And that's kind of why I don't really want to make guide videos. And again, no hate to guide people who watch guides or make guide content. Some people want to play games differently. It's just my recommendation for a lot of you guys out there is to learn the game on your own. Yeah, like you can watch what other people do and stuff, but just like experience it for yourself. Learn things on your own. And of course, yeah, you're totally right, Mega Dwarf. You're totally right. Not everyone can spend 500 hours learning mechanics. Sorry about that. Just put a snooze in. Don't start nicotine chat. It's highly addictive. Doesn't the locations market depend on influence? That's part of market attraction, Kusurvik. So there's three factors determining a location's. There's three factors determining a location's market. First factor is the distance of that location towards the market center. And that can get decreased with buildings like roads and higher harbor capacity and maritime presence. That decreases distance cost. The second factor is market attraction. So every market center has a market attraction value that makes it more attractive for nearby locations to join. And that depends on the market center owner and market attraction modifiers that he has. The third is market protection, which basically means if the owner of the location and the owner of the market center are the same, market protection adds another factor in favoring your market centers. So if you have high market protection, your locations have a higher favorability to join markets that belong to you, which is why sometimes you'll see market center border gore, because some nation will, or a vassal of another nation, there'll be high market protection. And even though there's a closer market to it, will prefer that other market because of market protection. What is the weakest part of the game? Islam is not represented correctly. You need better representation of Islam. What decides market attraction? It's a value determined by the market center owner. It's basically like a flat value. I went on a rant about this yesterday. I'm not going to do it again. Oh yeah, also AI needs to get a better weighing in on what locations to take in peace deals. I agree with that. Do historic dynasties show up dynamically through events? There are some, I could be wrong on this because I'm not 100% sure. That's why I didn't answer you the first time, was because I wasn't 100% sure and I was thinking, and I don't want to just give you fake news. There are some unique events to get different dynasties, historic dynasties. The one example I can think of that is Brandenburg, and we're going to go over that in this. Brandenburg, there's a way for you to get the Hohenzollern dynasty. But outside of that, I don't know. I really don't know. I know that there's historic events to get like the Anjou and stuff like that. There we go. All right. By the way, chat, if you're just tuning in, these are the nations I've played at least 100 in-game years on. These are it. 1,000 hours. These are the nations I played. There's still a lot of nations I want to play. I want to play the Knights. I want to play Sweden. I want to play more Brandenburg. I want to play Timurids because I've watched a lot of Timurids and I've seen a lot of reports on Timurids, but I want to play them. Stuff like that. The next nation we're going to go into is Castile. Castile's another really powerful nation. And to me, you're going to also see this throughout my ranking. I don't generally just like nations that just start more powerful than all their neighbors. That is a personal preference of mine. I like starting weaker and having more challenges in the campaign. Of course, I know players like this exist where they just like being very powerful and they like living out these like weird power fantasies. Sorry, not sorry. But Castile's definitely one of those nations that are incredibly powerful. It is a very, very powerful nation with a lot of unique events and unique flavor. And not only that, Spain, on top of that, also has a lot of unique event and advances. So they are a very powerful nation, good beginner nation as well, have some really fun with their in-game mechanics, and basically allows you to just like consolidate Iberia, then consolidate, eat up the Maghreb, colonize all of the New World, get a bunch of ports all over Africa, conquer Japan, conquer Philippines, conquer China, just like conquer, destroy, kill, OP. You know, you're going to see those videos that it's like, Castile is the most broken nation in EU5. Because guess what, chat? Yes, Paradox is a Swedish company, but Tinto is a Spanish company, and you can tell that they have some favoritism to them because they named this location Sitges, which is where the Paradox Tinto office is. I'm not doxing them. They released that info in the pre-release stream. They said, yes, we're in Sitges, Spain. I didn't know that they wanted to give that information, but they said it in the pre-release stream. So, yes, all of the Iberians are very powerful. Even Aragon. Aragon's like, I would say, I don't know because I haven't played Aragon, but what I've heard, Aragon's actually more fun than Castile. But that could also be that the person that was telling me that was a Catalan person, a person that's from Catalonia. So, you know, obviously there's some bias there. But yeah, it's like it's a very powerful, maybe a little bit overtuned nation. Another great beginner nation. For that reason, I'm going to give it a low A. Maybe even just like a high B. Maybe it's too powerful. For my taste, again, this is my opinion. It's a fun tier list. This isn't a difficulty tier list. Not like that. I feel like it's a little bit maybe too strong. And you might be saying, but Habibi, you put Ottomans in S tier and you're also saying that they're super strong. Yeah, bro. That's my personal opinion, man. I like living out more Ottoman fantasies than I like living out Spanish fantasies. Sue me, dude. Oh, man. No, but Ottomans also has mid-game challenge in the Mamluks and also has a late-game challenge in taking all of Europe on. Is there events related to the PU and Aragon? There are no just events like, oh, you just get a PU. And might be a controversial take. This might be a controversial take. Maybe AIs should just get those events, but I don't think players should just get like events or even missions that just give them PUs. I thought that was one of the silliest things in EU4. It's like, oh, I'm going to play Austria. I'm going to get 4 electors to vote for me and like me. Suddenly I have a PUCB on Bohemia. Okay, I go get Bohemia. Oh, suddenly I'm stronger than Hungary, so I get a PUCB on Hungary. Oh, okay, now I'm suddenly getting a PUCB on Castile in 1500. It was kind of just like silly, and I don't know. For me, I personally don't like that. But as I covered in my Portugal video, if you really want to play with the PU mechanics, the whole marriage system and allows you to do that through marrying your heirs to the right characters, and that requires a lot of like looking at different nations' heirs. So like you see, okay, I have a female heir. Who can I marry off this female heir to a male heir, or maybe even a king that doesn't have children yet, so their children end up inheriting both kingdoms? Boom, that's a union IO. I think maybe AI should get more of those events, but I don't think players should. Yeah. But yeah, like if you look at Castile in EU4, Castile gets the PU events and missions for Aragon, Austria, Naples, Burgundy, and Portugal. And yes, non-European, non-Christian unions exist in EU5, but they're harder to have because many non-European Christian nations do not allow female heirs. For example, Muslim nations, unless you change the law, which you can do, by default, they don't have the law that female heirs are allowed. Also, as a Muslim country, you're probably family maxing 4 wives on every single male crown character, so you have a bajillion kids. So you never have like the issue which you have with European countries where they're only allowed 1 wife, and you only have like 1 kid or 2 kids. But yeah, so for that reason, I give Castile a high B. Granada is a low B, so they're gonna have some distance between them. Don't get it twisted, chat. But for me, they're a bit too overpowered to be like super fun. Great beginner nation as well, just like Ottomans and Naples. Venice, I wouldn't recommend it as your first playthrough. I even told that to Tommy K yesterday because he was like, Venice looks really cool. And I was like, I think that you will like struggle with Venice because of the maritime presence, and I'd recommend playing a different nation because Venice, you need like to work with a lot of mechanics that are new to EU5 to make Venice work. They're also weaker than Verona, and Aquileia for Venice tends to get a lot of allies, which may be the day 1 strat of no CBing Aquila day 1 as Venice. That might be the strat, chat. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Next nation, Portugal. I don't have a save for Castile. Well, I played Castile back in like June, and it was fun. But I would give a high B. I'd rank these nations higher. Portugal. This is gonna get a high A. Surprise! It's not an S tier, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why. One of the things about Portugal that was I would say more fun about Portugal, more fun mechanic about Portugal when it comes to EU4 compared to EU5 was that immediately you start the game and you're exploring the world. You're finding Africa, you're finding the new world, you're doing all of this stuff. You're rushing down Peru, you're rushing down Mexico, you are finding India in the late 1400s and the early 1500s. In EU5 with the new start date, Portugal, and you have basically 100 years where you're basically in this like low income nation, and you're basically just trying to make money. And you're just, if you watch my Portugal video, we were like struggling to get by month to month. I can't pay my rent, chat. We were struggling to get by month to month, and you have this like 100 years of like economic slower build up that didn't exist in EU4. I'm not saying that Portugal should colonize. I just think that right away, I just think due to the nature of EU5, it becomes for me a high A tier nation. Portugal is a nation that I probably won't play in multiplayer. And that's because you're going to be spending the first two nations just trying to get your little tiny economy moving. And for me in multiplayer, I kind of want like action going on all the time, right? Because I'm streaming, I'm playing, I want things going on like all the time that Portugal does not really offer in EU5 right off the start bat. But that being said, Portugal does have some really cool mechanics. And actually, I learned from playing as Portugal that the strategy is not to just rush down all of the New World like you did in EU4. And I actually like this more than EU4. You maybe get Brazil, but actually what you want is you want your own holdings in Africa. You shouldn't even make a colony in South America. You want your own holdings all over Africa, India, and Asia. You hold them yourself. You build the right here. You build the lieutenancy building, and then later on you build the viceroyalty building, which is a local proximity source. So you don't need proximity to your capital. Then you combine that with a feitoria and a castle or like a bastion. And then you basically play into the fact that you have all these ports everywhere that are pulling trade out. And it's not about just like taking the new world and dominating the new world. And that's really cool. I think that's really cool, which is why I still give it a high A rating. And it's probably going to be the highest A rated nation here. Yeah, but it's really cool, I think, as Portugal that, you play into that. And now we'll also load in a Portugal save. No sub alerts. I got a sub. Infraction, thank you for the sub. Hello, Mr. Yaman, not Mr. Habibi. Oh, what's up, dude? Thank you for the sub. Yeah, why is my sub alerts not working? I can fix that. Browser source. Subs should work, chat. Someone test it out. Someone sub so we can see if it works. Debated. Lol. Our building's pretty flavor. Unique buildings are pretty cool. We'll get to that, Sir Lex. We'll get into the... Oh, I deleted the save. Oh, I deleted a save. Oh, no. I had a save mid-Red Turban Rebellion to show you what it looks like. Did it show up? Thank you for the gifted sub. Why didn't it show up? Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I feel like I scammed. I'm sorry, dude. I have to gift the sub to counteract that. Here. I'll gift the next sub. I'll gift the sub. If you're a chatter that that wants a sub but like really don't want to do it or can't afford it, write in chat and I will gift you a sub. For some reason my Stream Elements notifications aren't working. The save looks familiar, no, chat? Copy URL. Work now. Why should I write in chat? Me. You can. Oh my god. Oh my god. What is going on? Did it just pop up? Hello? Why does this happen, dude? I'm low-key gonna stop use stream elements, I think. I can't even edit it. It's just not loading. Alright, I'm gonna have to figure that out off stream. Okay, I'm gonna put that on my to-do list. My notifications stopped working. Notifications, Twitch, stop working, fix it. I'm sorry, chat. We just don't have them. Maybe it will start working randomly. I don't know. This right here is my Portugal campaign that we did the video for. You can see this absolute monstrosity that colonized all the way to Alaska. And I didn't cover this in the video, but the Ottomans ended up adopting Greek as their primary culture and then sending all the Greeks to Congo. No, the income's not worse. My expenses are just higher. But look at that. This is a normal. You reach the 1600s and your income just goes. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the Ottomans basically just sent all the Greeks to Congo. I don't know why they did that. But yeah, specifically, so I learned from this campaign that you shouldn't just like colonize all of New World. Actually, it's kind of bad to do that because if we look at our population, you can see that I stagnated at like 2 million, 4 million pops for quite some time in my gameplay. And that's because I was sending a lot of my pops to the New World. Portugal is a nation with low pops. So what you actually want to do as Portugal is you want to have these little port cities all over the world that can push trade. And I learned this in the end of the campaign because like, look at this. I have this little tiny sliver right here, but I'm bringing in a lot of trade from here. And I actually can if I built more marketplaces over here. And I have also this one over here. And I'm pulling trade from here. And I'm pulling trade from here. And even here, I'm pulling a lot of trade from here. And it's the same thing over here. I'm pulling a lot of trade from here. Spanish Empire. I have my hands everywhere. And I'm pulling trade from over here. And I think that's actually what you're supposed to do as Portugal, which is really cool. Because then you can leverage your big navy and having really strong forts. Oh my god. Really strong forts on your coastal provinces. And then on top of that, you build the Feitoria building. I'm misspelling it. Feitoria building, which is a unique Portuguese building that gives 5% production efficiency, which is very big. This is like the equivalent of like 50% production efficiency in EU4. So it's huge production efficiency. And you just like extract resources and from your different little ports all over the world. And if I play Portugal again, that's how I'm going to play it. I'm not going to go for the New World, especially now. Like, look, I have 2 very disloyal subjects, and that's because they're gigantic, because they just got so much power. I mean, this one's literally 18 million people, which is insane, but, you know, considering their size, it makes sense. 18 million people, and they're super disloyal now because we're in the age of revolutions, and we have the colonial revolution situation. But as Portugal, if you just own the land directly, you don't get that problem. But look, my little Brazil stays loyal, chat. Brazil stays loyal. Brazil's a G, even though he has 10 million pops. Not that many slaves anymore. The slaves went down. So yeah, and I think that's very cool that as Portugal, you're kind of encouraged to not just colonize all the New World and generate all of this development out of nowhere like in EU4, but rather you're meant to be this nation that like has these ports all over the world. It does mean though that unless you get a bunch of land yourself or conquer Spain, you're not really going to be that powerful. Like even you conquer all of Morocco. By the way, Morocco, very rich region, super rich region, beautiful region. A lot of really good RGOs here, kind of. But you have gold, you have iron, you have mercury. I think that's about it. You have dyes, a lot of dyes. Dyes is very good. But yeah, I think that's super cool. And that's why I give it an A rating. But the reason why it's not an S is the first 100 years of Portugal. And that for some people, that could be just like not seen as fun, is that, you know, you have to wait to age 3 to really get the ball rolling and having the most fun with Portugal, which means that you have to get through 100 plus years of gameplay. The Sultanate of Carthage, by the way, chat. How big is the competition for the New World? When it comes to AI, they start colonizing at the end of the Age of Discovery heavily. You can even see that Spain like colonized here. This is a Papal States colony. This is a French colony. This is a Spanish colony. This is an English colony. The AI ramps up colonization later, but the factor in which AI colonizes is completely dependent on how much money they're making. It's completely dependent on how much money they're making. If AI is making a lot of money, they're going to colonize. And that's why you can even see like, oh, Ottomans colonized because the AI Ottomans was making a lot of money. You can even see he has 4,000 base tax, which is actually quite a lot. Is there a Treaty of Someone didn't watch my Portugal video. Yes, there is. Oh, I'm not OP, highest IQ Portugal player. No, it's not about OP, dude. I put Castile down because they're too OP. And even I put Venice up higher because they're less OP than EU4. It's not about being OP. It's just more that you'll understand when you play the game. It's like you have 100 years where you are not playing like what the image of Portugal is. And that's totally fine. That's totally fine. That's how it's intended in the game. But that, for me, that's why this is a fun rating. It's a fun rating. For me, it wasn't that fun waiting the first 100 years to get the ball rolling, but I understand that that is a core mechanic of the game. It's just due to the nature of the start date. I thought OP equals fun. To me, that's not. There were other videos to watch, Habibi, and you didn't choose mine first. SMH, dude. SMH. All right. I'm joking, by the way. I don't care that you watch other people first. Go ahead, dude. Go ahead. But my Portugal video is there for whenever you decide to watch it. I watched you first. A lot of you guys watched me first. I really appreciate that. No, but I don't. I'm not. I'm joking. I'm not actually salty that you watched someone else first. We already covered that. If you missed what I talked, if you've missed what I've talked about so far, wait for the YouTube video coming out tomorrow. It will be edited down too. You won't have this part in it, for example. But yes, Ottomans have a decline of the Ottomans disaster. I'm not going to reveal it so you guys can experience it firsthand without even realizing it. Ha 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 ha, I'm evil. But yes, Ottomans have a decline of the Ottomans event. Ayubids, Tristos, but we made it work. You're an infamous paid actor. Good, good. You won't have to listen to Happy. Just thanks. Yeah, but yeah, they do, Pridendale, to answer your question. They have a decline of the Ottomans' disaster that can trigger in any age. The most important factor to think about, though, is if you have low control and if you have... I'll tell you guys. If you have low average control and you have a lot of untolerated pops in your nation, you can trigger the disaster, the decline of the Ottomans. Boom. There you go, chat. So keep that in mind when you play the Ottomans. Can you answer my question? Do you know the reason why some locations along rivers have a higher percentage modifier compared to other locations along the same region? They have 25, will have other for food production. I think Pavia decided that based off of where was historically food was grown when it came to the Nile. To answer your question, I don't know why it's like that everywhere, but Pavia did a lot of historic research. Pavia is the head design lead. And basically, they looked at where there was the most food grown, like when it came to the Nile. They looked, okay, this location was known for more food production than this location, so this location should have a bigger buff. Okay. Yeah, the Scottish levies are insane. Yes, yes. The Scotland has insane levy bonuses. The Scotland in my Portugal campaign had like 300,000 levies, while having like a pop size of 3 million. Okay. How often do you see Mamluks ally Georgia via their event? I think I've seen it once, maybe. Do you notice issues with food, or is starvation pretty rare? I think a lot of you guys will have less issues with food. The biggest time you probably see it is during the Little Ice Age situation. In that situation, you will definitely notice a reduction in food production due to longer winters. Um, but the general meta, I guess, that a lot of players will catch on very quickly is that you boost food production because cheap food and large food storages equals more pop growth. So if you're playing with that in mind, you're barely gonna have starvation issues. But especially early game, like a nation like Austria, they have very low food production. So you're actually gonna struggle with food until you invest more into food. That's something I noticed while playing Austria. Camera went out. Where did it go? Don't say it's bugging out again. Come on. No, why? Oh. Oh. Oh, okay. Hey. No! What's going on? Okay, now it's working. Now that I go here, it stops working. What the hell? I go in here, it's working. I go in here, it stops working. I go in here, it's working. I go in here, it stopped working. Weird. What is going on? This is like a brand new camera. It's like a year old. I mean, that's not brand new. Yeah. Okay. All right. So next nation. Let's go into this. We're taking so long. Brandenburger. Okay, so actually I have a save to show you guys here. Not from when I played Brandenburg because it's been a while. But I have a save to show you guys this exact event. You have a huge debuff to your starting dynasty as Brandenburg. The first stage of playing Brandenburg is pain. Pain is salvation. Play pain is salvation here. It is pain, chat. It is absolute pain. Until you get rid of your starting dynasties, the von Wittelbachs, and or you can keep the von Wittelbachs, but it's not the best experience. Yeah, the Wittelbach neglect event. Exactly, yes. This basically turns your nation into a one location miner. Even though you have all these pops and you have all these locations, you get this event right here. The Wittelbacher neglect. You get minus 40 legitimacy right off the bat. And you get this event right here, the Wittelbach neglect, which gives you max control minus 10, monthly control 0.5, and minus monthly legitimacy until you either you go to a 7 Wittelbacher investment from negative 15 through these event cycles that happen with Brandenburg, or you go all the way to negative 20 and you get the neglect of Brandenburg becomes eligible to fire, which removes the von Wittelbachs from power and can get you your historic dynasty of the Hohenzollern's. So it may seem counterintuitive, but generally speaking, as Brandenburg, you actually want to go towards the neglect. Get rid of the von Wittelbachs, chat. Get rid of this dynasty and bring in a new dynasty. One thing that I do like compared to EU4 to EU5, and this might be a controversial take for some of you guys that are like, no, I need my Space Marines. I need my Space Marines right now. I need my Space Marines. I need 1,500. I need to be doing 10-to-1 casualties right now. You're not gonna get that. You're not gonna get that in EU5. All of Prussia's OP, right? All of Prussia's OP buffs that you get, all of the really strong buffs that you get as Prussia, don't happen until the last 2 ages of the game. So even if you do, as Brandenburg, you go through this disaster, you get the Hohenzollерns, you get rid of the Whittlebacks, you conquer the Teutonic Order, you consolidate this northern region of Germany, you get, you form Prussia. By the way, formables don't show until you have the land. So in this case, is Brandenburg. You need to get the Teutonic Order land to be able to form Prussia. And you also need certain requirements in order to form Prussia. You can't just form it because you have land. There's a bunch of requirements to form Prussia. You don't just immediately become OP, which is, I think, a really good change. But would I say that it's fun playing them, going through years and years of suffering just so you can get advances in the very last stages of the game? Not really. From my experience, not really. Not really. I want to play Brandenburg some more and give it more love, but from my experiences of playing Brandenburg, it's a high C. Says the Portugal only player. Yep. Yes. I don't like you can see formables until you until you get them. That's a take. That's definitely a take. I honestly agree too. I wish you could see the formables beforehand. You need to own land in this region. In this province, actually. You need to own land in the Danzig province to be able to see it, I think. So that was my experience as playing Brandenburg. Again, guys, this is subjective experience. I think that they may be a little bit too weak. Like I said, this thing here, it turns you into an OPM basically. Look, this is your nation, dude. 3 control, 1 control, 24 control, 2 control, 2 control, 2 control. I understand what was going on here, but does it make a fun experience? Maybe it's rewarding. It's one of those really cool things, and it encourages you to play to the entire late game. I didn't reach the late game, so maybe if I reach the late game as Brandenburg, and that's why I say I want to play Brandenburg more. This is just my current take. These takes can change, chat. People can change their opinions. Doesn't mean that they're bad people. This could be pushed up to A after I play it more and I experience it more. But playing the first 100 years as Brandenburg is very painful experience because, you have these pops. You have an income of 3 ducats, even though you have these lands. You're basically the same power level as a bunch of the smaller nations. Requires a lot of diplomatic movement and doing that. All right. I didn't play Holland and Netherlands. These are only the nations I played. That's why they're on the list. Brandenburg would be bad at MP. I want to try an MP. Probably will be a very painful experience, but I think it will be very funny for us to try to make it work in MP. Have you tried Teutonic Order is not on the list. It's not on the list, so I haven't played them yet. I have 1,000 hours, and these are the only nations that I've played so far. All right. Oh, and my camera bugged out again. Why is that happening? I don't know. I actually have no clue. Okay. Poland, Poland, Poland. The next nation on the list. This is Venice. This is Venice's war flag. Cool Venice fact, by the way. Venice's flag changes from when you're at peace and war. This is their wartime flag. Very cool little game detail there. I'm not using an iPhone as my camera. Imagine having as little as 1,000 hours in a non-release game. I think you're trolling me. That's rage bait. I've been working as a QA and also as the community team since April. So those are not just me playing for fun hours. Those are also work hours. So that's wartime is S tier. What's peace tier? Still S tier. Venice is the most fun I've had playing at EU5 so far. Tomorrow, there's a release calendar that was shown on the pre-release stream, and I think it was posted on social media. I think it was a joke, brother. Yes, it was a joke. But I have to say it anyways. So this Poland nation is like another one of those, like, okay, you're not going to be strong early game, which I also like. And you also have some really nice, you have the winged hussars that also upgrade into the late game, into the age of absolutism. And in the age of reformations, you have the regular winged hussars, which if I could hover over it, they have higher initiative compared to normal cavalry, and they also deal more morale damage. So it's really cool. They are similar to EU4 Poland, where you start weak and then you basically consolidate power and you get stronger as the game progresses. The early game is a lot of it is focused on is basically with conflict with your nobility. The Szlachta, right? That's what they're called, the Szlachta, and the institution of the Sejm. So a lot of the early game rotates around this type of gameplay, which is very cool. I think Poland is really cool. The Poland nationalists are gonna be pissed off when they play Poland, because Poland experiences the Black Death just like any other nation. Turned out that after doing further study, that it is Polish exceptionalism and Polish historic revisionism that they barely got any deaths from the Black Death. Turns out it's not true. They had less than northern Italy and Iberia, but so did a bunch of other nations. So Poland does not just, by the nature of being Poland, gets impacted less by the Black Death. No, they're just like any other nation. You do actions. Depending on your actions, you get impacted by the Black Death. I do like that they're more of like a scalar nation. They don't start strong. You have to get stronger with power. And then by the age of Reformation and the age of absolutism, you can be a strong powerhouse. I like that. It's really fun, actually. And I give Poland a strong A tier. I put it ahead of Naples before Portugal. Did I play any landless countries? I played Japanese daimyos. All right. Next nation on the list, Muscovy. Do I have any Poland saves to show? No, I have a multiplayer save, but I'm not going to show that because I did play Poland in a multiplayer. But I'm not going to show that because I got bullied. I got bullied, chat. I got bullied by France. I got bullied by Bohemia. The only person that was my bro was Fucus on Byzantium. They bullied me, chat. France came from all the way from France, the France player, and took this part of Poland and made it into vassals. I'm not even joking. I got bullied, chat. I got bullied. No, I'm joking. But they did do that. The next nation, Muscovy. Muscovy is actually a really nice fleshed out nation and actually very high in terms of content. A lot of really good content on this nation. And you have some really interesting... you have some really nice, interesting gameplay mechanics around diplomacy and conquest. And you also get a lot of proximity and control buffs, which is really nice because, you know, when you form Russia, you're going to have huge swaths of lands and a population that's not centralized. But the game gives you a lot of ways to work around with that, which is really cool, both as Muscovy and as Russia, which I thought was super cool. Really cool nation, really fleshed out. But in the current game state in single player, when I play Muscovy, I have the same thing. And I actually do have a save for Muscovy. Muscovy does, after it conquers this area of the map, let's say this area, doesn't really have any strong contenders. Okay? And that makes it like, okay, yeah, dude, I'm doing Russia. Maybe, you know, you go here and you can take on China, but, you know, then if there's no unified China, again, it's not that big of a challenge. So for that reason, I'm going to put Muscovy in A, below, probably a really good nation in multiplayer, Muscovy. Fun. I have more fun than Poland. I think I had more fun than Poland. So I'll put Muscovy right there. Is it OP? Muscovy is pretty OP. And we'll load up a Muscovy save. In terms of economy, no. But in terms of proximity, yes. They have a lot of proximity buffs. No, not that one. Yes, pops do move independently, but you have to give them the right to do that. As Schmeily just said, your pops need to have the right to be able to freely move. Yes, Ottomans get big proximity buffs as well. Most nations that were big land historically have proximity buffs. Even Austria has proximity buffs. They need to be in the same market. Yeah, pops only move within their own markets. Is MP playable? I played MP. There's some couple lessons that we learned from MP. Playing with people like across the world causes issues. Certain peoples can slow down the lobby for everyone else or cause more desyncs than for everyone else. But yeah, here's my Muscovy campaign that I played as Russia. This is the one that we did the AAR video that's on the Europa Universalis channel. Muscovy has a lot of these like proximity buffs, and it's actually quite cool. It's like you can see around the capital. We have all of these locations, and it's really nice actually. You have a bunch of locations with 100 proximity, and over here it's very low proximity because they're not integrated lands because I haven't integrated them yet. But integration is a process for sure. But you have like a lot of things that you can do to try to work with all the different culture groups that you get, and a lot of very cool mechanics to play with on Russia. So very cool nation, definitely an A tier nation when it comes to fun. Why is my vision so limited, 1591? Because I haven't done enough explorations. I would have to do here. I needed to do the thing where I destroy Golden Horde. Market map mode, sure, here you go. I was thinking if I kept playing, we would make another market that's specifically here. Because look at this, we have a bunch of locations that are low market access. That means they're not that very productive locations. How much? It's a bunch of different proximity buffs. It's not just one. No laws available. That's weird. Oh, it's probably because it's a different game version. So it's a little bugged out. This was on an older game version. This was on the August, or was it September build. And between now and September, there was probably like 20 different builds. How well we're doing the fur trade? We're dominating it. We're dominating the fur trade. I think we're just exporting fur. Yeah, we're just exporting a bunch of fur. To Paris, to Bruges, to Tabriz, to Oslo, to London, to Dublin again, to Aberdeen. We're pumping money from the fur trade. We're spending a lot on a big military. Not making like insane money, but we haven't reached the age of absolutism increase in tax base. You can see it's starting to happen. It's starting to happen. But you reach the 1600s, especially once you get the manufactories. You get global trade, and then you get manufactories. Your income goes like this. Like that. Is there ways? Yeah, transportation costs is the best way to increase market access. So roads. And if we look at roads map modes, like I'm building roads, but it's taking me time. It's taking me a lot of time. Russia is similar in EU4 where it's like a forever scaling nation. And you also get a lot of pop growth buffs. So as Russia, you have, if you, in your tenants, religious tenants, you have the double Sabbath, which is giving you 0.02 pop growth. And then I think it's in this age. Is it in this age? Yeah, you have here Siberian Frontiers, which is giving you pop growth. And then you also have this also giving you pop growth. So as Russia, you have a lot of insane pop growth buffs. A lot. Why not conquer Eastern Europe? I'm going to turn off the recording for this part. Chat. If I went for this nation, there's on the official YouTube channel of Europa Universalis, bad things would happen to me from the Ukrainian community. They were ready. One guy DM'd me saying, why did you pick Muscovy? Russia is doing all this stuff in Ukraine today, and you guys are glorifying it by showcasing Russia as the nation that you're showcasing. And I'm just like, I don't even know how to respond to this, dude. I don't even know. Like, it's a freaking video game, dude, that's set in the early modern era. But yeah, that did happen. Playing it safe. Playing it safe. Yeah. All right. But definitely, yeah. But it's, you know what? I might even put Muscovy at the highest A. I'm even contemplating putting it low S. It's a really good and fun nation to play. Playing Muscovy is actually a lot of fun. I'll put Muscovy as a high A. The highest A, Muscovy. Okay? Actually, you know what? Lowest S. There you go. Fun tier list. Next nation, Yuan. Okay, and if you notice here, I put Yuan and I put Ming. I didn't have the in-game flag of Ming. If you didn't know, there's a way to play as Ming in EU5. The way in Ming is actually a lot of content, very fun nation to play. But we'll get to that in a second. The reason why I put them as two separate things is because I actually want to see, okay, what's it like just playing as Yuan and trying to like keep hold of China as Yuan. That's what I'm gonna say. That's what the fun experience of trying to hold China down. I had a save to show what it's like being in the Red Turban Rebellion, but every nation that revolts against you declares war on you, and you're in a 20 nation free for all. You're in a 21 nation free for all, and you have debuffs to your levies. You have debuffs to your levy size. You have all of these negative debuffs that you need to play around. It's definitely a challenge. Is it a fun challenge? Not really, because the way that I made it work was a lot of cheese. That was a lot of cheese. In order to make Yuan work and maintain Yuan, what I had to do was a lot of cheese. And I don't find it where it's like, okay, I have to do a lot of cheese. No, Yuan can hold on to their Mongolian territory very easily, even as them. But like I'm saying, maintain control over all of China as Yuan. The first cheese thing that I did as Yuan was, okay, you get an event that reduces your levy size. But if you raise your levies before you get the debuff, you have a big ass army. But you can see even at the start, holy man. Oh my god, dude. Look at this debuff, chat. This goes from 35k. This goes down from 35k. Oh, not this. Sorry, levies. 533 levies, dude. Okay. You do have some manpower buildings you can build with a provincial garrison, but it gives 2 monthly manpower. It's like you can just spam these everywhere, I guess. But we don't have enough weaponry. Of course, we don't have enough weaponry. You spam these and you just have to try to hold down the power. When I played Yuan, they still had levies and then they got a debuff. So it did actually get changed since when I last played Yuan. Interesting to know. We learn something every day. But before, how it was showcases that you had this professional armies, but you also had levies, and then you got these early game events that basically turned your levies to this. Then you're playing against other Chinese nations that have buffs to their levies. So these nations have buff to their levies. So you're fighting Ming, by the way. If you look at the population map mode, Ming spawns right here, and they start small. But you might be thinking, oh man, they're so small. But no, Ming is like a 4 million pop nation, and it's just this. It's just this, Ming, and it's 5 million population. And you're trying to fight 60k levies with 2,000 dudes, 1,000 dudes, man. Send dudes. I need dudes. Send them now. And not only that, that's just one. That's just one That's just one. Why is my camera lagging? I'm gonna turn off camera. That's just one of the warlord states that has 60,000. You're facing 10 of them, dude. 10. The only saving grace is that the warring dynasties fight each other. Okay? Because the way that it works is that when you become a warring dynasty, let's say you're playing as Yuan, you want to play as Ming. You play as Yuan, you 5 speed until the Ming event spawns, and you play as Ming. And then you're suddenly Ming. If you want to cheese playing as Ming, you can as well. What you do, like if you want to make it easier, all right, if you're trying to make playing as Ming easier, what you do is you build up, you spend basically all of Yuan's bank building up Nanjing. No, not that one. I'm spelling it wrong. Sorry, Chinese people in chat. How do you spell Nanjing, dude? Maybe I can find it. Oh, it has a different name because of Mongolian. This area. You just spend all of your money building up this area. So when you start as Ming, you start stronger. You can do that, cheese, right? You can do that if you'd like. If that's what you want to do. Am I looking at the right place? I don't think I'm looking at the right place. No, it's not that one. So yeah. Playing as Yuan and trying to just hold on to China as Yuan, it's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge. Is it a fun challenge? If you are a person that likes cock and ball torture, maybe. Ming, on the other hand, definitely a fun nation. Very fun nation to play. You have your God King that spawns in, and it's not just like, oh, you're Ming, you're just OP. You have to take on Wu, who's almost 4x your population by the time you spawn, because Ming doesn't spawn as the first Red Turban Rebellion state. The first one is the Kingdom of Shen, I think it is. It could be different. Oh, my camera bugged out. No more camera. Kingdom of Shen. Then there's a pirate state that spawns here, which you can also play as. Then Wu spawns, which is all the way over here. And Wu is like 20 million pops by itself. So as Ming, that is a fun challenge. You have to take on, not only do you have to take on Great Yuan, you have to take on all of the other warring states at the same time. And by the way, as Ming, as you conquer land, those lands don't immediately just become your cores. I say that though, but as Ming, you can use the situation action. I wish I saved the save as Ming. You can use the situation action to completely integrate areas. Yeah, you heard that right. Integrate areas for money immediately. So basically your gameplay as Ming to start is that you have to use a lot of tactics. You have to fight against stronger nations against you and basically hope that the other warring states fight each other and be opportunistic and basically come out on top. And that is a lot of fun. Uniting China as Ming during the Red Turban Rebellion, a lot of fun. Only reason why I put it here in like mid A tier is because once you unify China, you then have to go through the gameplay of managing 90 million pops. And I know a lot of people that find that fun, especially I know that a lot of people that have been playing from the Chinese community who've been playing EU5, they find that a lot of fun. They just sit, and they're managing 90 million pops. But chat, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 markets that you have to manage. 14 markets that have to manage. 14 markets with pop needs. 14 markets with building needs. 14 markets with food needs that you have to micromanage. I think for some people, that will be a lot of fun. I feel like for some people that'd be for a lot of fun. For me, it was until it wasn't, if that makes sense, which is why I put it at A tier. It was, yeah. I basically turned at one point. I was telling basically my boss. I was saying, hey, like, look, I'm playing Ming, but I'm micromanaging everything because that's how I'm used to playing EU5. I never turn on automation. I'm spending like 10 hours to play 5 years in game because I'm micromanaging everything. So I'm just gonna turn on automation. And he was like, yeah, why didn't you just do that earlier? Are you crazy? Are you a masochist? And I was like, oh. So then I turned on automation and I played the game normally. But I feel like for some people that'd be a lot of fun because you're managing so many pops and so many markets, you have to manage their pop satisfactions. And if you have dealing with bad pop satisfactions, chat, if your China looks like this and rebellions incoming, and not only that, low pop satisfaction events in China lead to White Lotus events where basically people start conspiring against you, and then you start losing Mandate of Heaven, and your celestial authority starts ticking down, and you start getting debuffs, and you're like, oh my god, a masochist, a misogynist. Yeah, so I feel like I said, for some people that will be so much fun managing that many pops and micromanaging that. But if you are micromanaging every single market, every single location, playing as China, your campaign will probably take you 300 hours. But you can also just turn on all of the automation and then just play it normally. Is the way to survive as you want to just make a bunch of subjects? It's a cheese. Any way to survive as you want that I can think of is just you're cheesing the game mechanics. Are you Ming-maxing? You're Ming-maxing. I'm Ming-maxing, dude. Yeah. So there we go. Sorry, mom, I'm Ming-maxing. I can't come to dinner. I'm Ming-maxing. Oh my god, dude. But that's why I put Yuan in D. All of the strategies that I can think of to maintain power over China requires just like cheesing the game systems and game mechanics. If you just try to play it like and just try to survive, it is very difficult. Ottomans was my first 100 hours. Can you kill all the Chinese pops before rebel spawn and then reconquer? I mean, you can starve them. You can just starve pops. You can just starve pops. Oh, you're saying what is the first nation? Venice. Yeah. All right. Next nation. Wouldn't Yuan have more? No, actually, it's the other way around. Ming has more content than Yuan. It's the other way around. Ming has more content than Yuan. Actually, Ming, I think, ranks in like the top 3 of content. It's the other way around. Do you think MP is viable? I mean, I played MP games, but like I was saying in chat, there's a lot of factors to MP lobbies that didn't exist in EU4. If one person's like system is just not running EU5 well, the lobby is gonna be desync hell. If you have players that are playing like from across the ocean, you're gonna have issues, and I'm not really sure why. If you've stopped, I haven't tried Qing, but I think if one of these nations can form Manchu and then form Qing, but I haven't tried it and I don't know what the content looks like. One of these tribes, maybe yeah, Manchu. The event the later Jin happens to us. We'll add the warring state government reform. So you become another warring state. You see these buffs? You see these buffs right here, chat? All of the nations that come out, most of the nations that come out of the Red Turban Rebellion have these. All of them. What should be? Well, it doesn't matter what I think it should be. It already is planned out. It's already planned out what the first DLC is. It's Byzantine. But Johan talked about it on the pre-release stream that they the first year is going to be a lot of free patches, and the DLCs are not going to be mechanics based. They're going to just be flavor based, which I think is an amazing decision, genius decision, should I say. That instead of it being like EU4, where it was like Art of War was like a core mechanics, and you can't develop provinces unless you have the DLC. That's not going to exist in EU5. I think that's really cool. There's planned out DLCs, but they're not worked on. Yeah, the first year of content, first year of it's a Johan. Did you guys not watch the pre-release stream, chat? You didn't watch the pre-release stream, chat? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, if you watch the pre-release stream, Johan talked about that. He said there's a lot of free content that's just going to come out in the first year of development that are not going to be blocked behind DLCs. I got banned for spamming Turkish flags. Oh my god, chat. It loads faster than CK3. But does it run better? I don't know. It depends on what you mean by that. Yeah. All right. Do they plan on fixing MP eventually? MP was working for us. Like I said, there's like things that you need to like play around. But MP was working for us. I showed you guys like a save yesterday. It was in the mid 1400s. I don't know what was going on in the bow lobby. I think it was because they had... I think there was a saboteur in there, chat. That's my hot take. That's my hot take. Like I said, in a EU5 MP lobby, if you have one person that the game is not running well for, and there's also certain settings that you should play with. Should I go over those settings? We'll quickly look over those settings. You should play with this turned on. If you have AMD, you should have Vulkan. You should not use DX12. You should use Vulkan. You should put FPS between 120 and 240. Not below 90 to 30. It's not like Victoria 3. You need to play with that. And then there's some other settings that you should also play with if you're playing MP. I went over settings yesterday, but here's my settings. I'm playing Vulkan, Windows 1920 1080p. I cap FPS to 240, no VSync. I'm playing with map objects medium, texture quality medium, mesh LOD quality low. I have mesh LOD quality on. There's a forum post, by the way, on optimizing your settings as well that Ryagi posted. MSA times 4, texture filtering times 8, bloom high, map SSAO turned off, depth of field turned on, refraction quality low, reflections low, GUI blur disabled, low quality shaders turned off, the shadow quality the 1000 by 1000, texture streaming off, GUI texture streaming off, render scale 100%, animated characters on, single unit armies turned off, unit code of arms 128 times 128, characters SSAO on, portrait multi-sampling is X4, upscale method disabled, triupler UV quality high. I usually play with the 2D map actually, so I usually have this option on. Yes, there's DirectX, but if you have AMD, do not play with the X12. It's notoriously does not work. You should use Vulkan. If you can use Vulkan, use Vulkan. It's better. That is the highest unit code of ARM resolution. I just showed that. Yes, there is there's upscaling NVIDIA DLSS, but don't turn that on. Do not turn that on. That's my pro tip of today. Do not turn NVIDIA DLSS. Do not turn that on. No idea, generic username. I mainly play with the flat map on, actually. CPU. If you have AMD's CPU, use Vulkan. These are the settings for my PC. I have an AMD Ryzen 9 5900X 12 core. I have 32 gigs of RAM, 2100 megahertz, very slow, but that's because my motherboard is 7 years old. And I'm using a GTX RTX 30, GeForce RTX 3070 Ti. This is the CPU I have. All right, let's get through the rest of this list. Chat, if the nation's not on this list, I have not played more than 100 years on them. Every nation on this list, I've played 100 years on them. Even this guy right here, Greenland. I don't know, I just wanted to see what that was like. Spoilers. No, you're good, you're good. Just for the people that are just tuning in, if it's not on this list, I haven't played 100 years because it doesn't make sense of me making a fun tier list if I haven't at least played 100 years on them. So many of these nations I've played to the end game with, such as Ottomans, Portugal, Venice, not Castile, Granada, Vijayanagar, Ashikaga Shogunate. I have 1,000 hours. 1,000. What was the number, chat? 1,030 hours. Probably more now because we've been looking at these menus. Next, we're looking at the Ashikaga Shogunate. So you might be looking here and be saying, what? Only one unique bonus? Well, this one unique bonus is specifically to Ashikaga. If you go into here, you have Japanese focuses. You have, advances. You have 5 Japanese advances. You have 20 Shinto advances. Shinto has a lot of advances tied to it, giving different bonuses and things like that. And Japan has a lot of unique events. What's really cool about the Japan region, and you got to give props here, is that the flavor is not just locked to Ashikaga, but rather all of the shogunate events are for any nation that can surpass as the shogunate. And you're looking at this and you're saying, well, I don't see any other tags. Why isn't it like EU4, EU5? Well, to play one of these nations in here, they're actually building-based countries. You want to play as Oda? You can. You want to play as Usagi? I misspelt it. Usugi? You can. You want to play as Shimazu? You can. And they act as building-based countries until the Sengoku Jidai situation happens. Okay, so what's it like playing as Ashikaga? Ashikaga essentially requires the destroying. In order to consolidate Japan and end the Sengoku Jidai, Japan is, by the way, so beautiful. I wish I was playing on Ultra Graphics. But there's so many locations in Japan. So many. Look at this, chat. There are 146 146 members in the Japanese shogunate. In order to end the Sengoku Jidai as Ashikaga, you need to win and destroy 146 daimyos. Okay? And basically, as playing as Ashikaga, they just keep rebelling and they keep rebelling, and you need to put them down. You need to rebel and they put them down. And it is actually a quite hard experience. Was it a fun experience? I think that Japan actually has a really good swath of flavor and it's actually fun. But, and I'm going to do 2 in 1 here, okay? I'm going to put Ashikaga at a low B, and I'm going to put playing as a daimyo at a high A. I actually think playing as the daimyos are very fun, and I played Ashikaga all the way to 1836. I ended Sengoku Jidai in the late 1600s, and when you end Sengoku Jidai, you get events to help with your consolidation. I basically tested, can we reach historical Japanese pop in EU5? The question is, if you min-max, yes, even more. I think I ended the campaign in 1836 with 40 million pops in Japan. With just Japan and Hokkaido, you can end the campaign with 40 million pops. The reason why I say being a building-based country is more fun is because you, instead of being this nation and you're just putting down these daimyos and you're fighting daimyos left, right, center, playing as a daimyo is actually a lot of fun. And you building based countries, I said this yesterday, in my opinion, building based countries are overpowered. They're very overpowered if you know what you're doing. I don't recommend a building based country as your first playthrough, but if you know what you're doing as a building based country, they are very, very powerful. That was I was testing something for QA reasons. A Russian streamer was having a bug, and I went to see if I could replicate the bug in his save. Oh yeah, I'm a Russian spy. That's why. So, and not only that, as a daimyo, if you take the mantle of the shogun and you defeat the shogunate, W. If you thank you for the sub. Oh wait, the sub notification is showing. No, you still colonize. You can still colonize Japan. No. Actually, that's what I did when I played Ashikaga. I colonized Australia. I colonized all of Siberia, and I even colonized some of America. You can colonize Japan. You can, because as playing as a Japanese nation, right? You're playing as a Japanese nation. You can take what you have and make a very strong power base, put down all the daimyos, and just become giga rich. How do you defeat building based countries? There's delete their buildings. If you delete their buildings, you get them. But Sengoku Jidai is happening. We're in the middle of Sengoku Jidai right here. Of course, chat, the first thing you got to do if you're playing as Japan. No! It gives you some purity and honor. Very honorable. But what you do to get the shogunate, once you get a power base, you can see here I'm Shimizu. I'm conquering like a Japanese daimyo. What you do is you can also see I have manpower without having professional armies. And actually my manpower was much higher when I was a building based country, which I will go over in a second. What you do is once you have enough honor and purity, you can where's the action? I'm trying to see where the action is. Once you get enough power base in Japan, I don't have enough power base, but once you do, you can claim the shogunate, and that triggers a war with the shogun and his allies, and then you can become the shogun by winning that war. You can see I own Kyoto. There's 251,000 pops here. But yeah, it is very fun. I wouldn't recommend it as your first run. Now, how do you get rid of the building-based countries? Well, you need to shut down their... you need to revoke Shugu offices, which triggers a war with the building-based country. Then you defeat them, and then you basically destroy them by closing down their... there's a building. You close down their Yamashiros. A building-based country is a country that doesn't own land, but still exists through buildings. Actually, I'm gonna move Shimizu. I'm gonna put him here. Well, Shimizu is the only clan I played, but all of the Japanese clans play like in terms of like unique flavor, play the same. It's basically their position in Japan that changes. There's no unique advances for each clan. Still waiting. We'll wait for the Sengoku DLC, where all 140 members of Japan get their own unique advances. Is France S tier? As you can see, there's no France here. I did not play France more than 100 years. This is a fun tier list. Chat. This is a fun tier list. my own personal experience having playing in Japan or playing the game. Why did I say Japan? But here, I'm gonna show you guys why this is OP. This is Ming. This is Yuan. This is playing Yuan and just trying to maintain power over China as Yuan. This is starting as Yuan. You select play as Ming when the pop-up comes. There's many nations you can select in China. Wu, the Kingdom of Chen. There's even a pirate nation that you can play as. Those I didn't try, but I did Ming. And Ming is a lot of fun. Okay. All right. So why are building-based countries OP? So here I am. I'm already have 2,000 manpower and I'm making money. So what you do as a building-based country is you spam buildings throughout Japan. Okay? And each of these buildings give different things. And these, they did get nerfed. Oh, okay. They listened to me. There used to be a tech chat where as a Japanese daimyo, you could have like 100,000 troops by 1400. I'm not even joking. It got nerfed, so that's good. It's not in the game. But these buildings give you a lot of money. As you can see, gold to owner. They give you sailors. They give you manpower. They give you different bonuses and buffs, and you build them out throughout Japan. And not only that, the way Sengoku Jidai works is when the Sengoku Jidai situation happens, you basically can rebel on the shogun, and that basically gives you direct ownership of land and any location where you're the only person with a building there. So you can see here, Shimazu owns, I own this building here, and I own this building here. If no other clan builds here, I will, when Sengoku Jidai happens and I rebel against the shogun, I will get that event directly. The reason why I put this down a bit is because the first 100 years of the game, you're just a building-based country. You don't start like warring and trying to conquer Japan and doing the diplomacy and trying to take over all of Japan until the Sengoku Jidai situation fires, which is in the 1400s. If you play your cards right as a building-based country, you can start that situation immediately as the strongest daimyo and just start fighting all the daimyos. You fight all the daimyos, you start taking their land, you start destroying their buildings so they disappear. And then eventually you take the shogunate's role. You get all of the flavor that the shogun has in terms of unique events. And then you can consolidate Japan and you end up being one of the strongest nations in the game because Japan has a lot of pops. Japan has a lot of pops. Like I said, when I played as the Ashikaga shogunate, I played to 1837. You can see some of those clips if you've seen my map mode showcase. There's also little screenshots of that in some of the development diaries for Europa Universalis V, where, as Japan, with just this region alone, I was able to reach 40 million pops by min-maxing pop growth. There's the Noboku Jedi situation where you basically there's two emperors fighting for the emperorship and you can side with either side, and there is some fighting there, but it's not at the same level as Sengoku Jidai. In Boku Jidai, there's some warring here and there. Sengoku Jidai, it becomes the Japanese Thunderdome. This Friday, I'm playing MP Koopas. This Friday, I'm playing MP. I'm not going to be hosting my own MP lobby for some time. I don't want to organize lobbies. Maybe in the future, I'll organize a lobby. But right now, I don't want to. Japan also very high pop. Very high pops. They also don't get the Black Death. They do get Bubonic Plague later. Okay, let's go through these last nations. Next is the Jarldom of Greenland. I'm just gonna put this here, chat. This does not appeal to me. You start with 1,000 pops, and you start isolated from Europe, and it's speed 5 gameplay, trying to figure out what to do for the entire game. For some people, that will appeal to them. To some people, that will appeal to them. But for me, it does not appeal to me. I just tried it for the lulz. I just ran speed 5 while watching a movie. And I just had it running speed 5 and just like invite settlers. This is Greenland gameplay in a nutshell. Here, I'll show you Greenland gameplay in a nutshell. Okay? You curry favors with this guy. You curry favors with this guy. Okay? You go speed 5. And then you wait for this to be 5 favors. And then you do this action. You do invite settlers. And then you bring the settlers to Greenland. And that's your gameplay. You can, as Greenland, find the New World very quickly. You can find the New World quickly. You can find the New World quickly and you can colonize it, but you need money funding, so you need to ally some nation. Probably you stack diplomatic reputation and ally nations because they made it so unless you're allied, you can't go over 10 favors. And in order to get money, you need to have 25 favors. So you need to get ally, probably like England. You make England your ally. You wait for favors. You get money. It's like, okay, you get an influx of money. Then you find the New World and then probably move your capital to the New World. Do you get the Black Death as Greenland? It's possible if you don't stop your trades. It's very, very possible if you don't stop your trades. Can you bankruptcy max? Well, the way loans work in EU5 is they come from your estates. Sorry, my nose is itchy for some reason. The way loans work in EU5 is you need to have money from your estates, and you don't even have burgers because you don't even have a single town. And if your estates don't have money, you don't have loans. So you can't just loan max. Your max loans as Greenland is 20. And basically it's do nothing simulator for like the first 100 years of the game. So, yeah. I tried it though. I tried it. So I think it will appeal to some people. Greenland gameplay. Yeah, you can find maps and sell maps. No, you can't sell maps actually. You can only steal maps. Sell maps future when, chat? I'm pretty sure. I've never done that, so I don't think so. All right. Sell maps DLC. I enjoy the flat map more than the... I enjoy the 2D map more than the 3D map. But that's a preference thing. I'm playing with a 3D map now because people want to see the 3D map. How many people die in China when the Black Death arrives? Probably like 20 million. Can you load your Greenland save? I think I deleted it. I did this back in July. I loaded up Greenland. I did Greenland to test one thing. Yeah, I loaded up Greenland to test one thing, and it got changed. Chat, I did nothing. I literally did nothing except invite settlers for 100 years and used I got an alliance with England, then used the alliance with England to get monies through favors. That's all I did. That's all I did. But yeah, I played Greenland recently to test one thing, and it was the invite settlers. There was a patch where invite settlers was, you could just spam it, and you could do multiple invite settlers at the same time. So Greenland actually used to be more OP than it used to be, chat. Because what you used to be able to do is you could invite settlers from Norway, Sweden, and Denmark all at the same time. So instead of getting 10 pops a month, you got 30 pops a month. Broken. But that got removed due to that. How easy is it to get institutions? Well, we're actually going to cover that when we go into Vijayanagar. Yeah, chat, I ruined Greenland gameplay for you guys. It was my fault. It's because I hate you Greenland players. I hate you Greenland players. That's just a stupid nerf. Yeah, dude. Blame me. Blame me. That's fine. Yeah. Greenland mains, it's over for you. How we can be Greenland players if the game comes out tomorrow. They exist. They exist. People saw Greenland when they saw the 1337 map for the first time. Like, oh, I want to play that country. I want to play that country. It was too OP, dude. It was too OP. Greenland can stop existing, yeah, if they all of their locations depopulate. Yeah, if you stop trades, you can stop. If you stop trades, you can stop the Black Death. But then what ends up happening is that you don't, if you're not trading, you're not getting goods, and then that could lead to some problems. Hungary. Again, a great starter nation. Great nation for your first campaign. The reason why I say it's a great starter nation is because you start with 3.8 million pops, which is more than England, less than Castile, and less than France. But you also have a very strong tax base to start, more so than any of your neighbors. So basically, as Hungary, you're stronger than all of your neighbors, so you don't really have to worry about, you know, any existential threats. You can just focus on, you know, building up your nation and building up this nice, cute Hungary. And then after, you know, playing tall, you can then go around and conquering around your neighbors. You know, you have some Cav-LARP through your composite light cavalry advance, which is the highest Cav power in Europe, I think. I think also Poland has high Cav power as well. But you have some Cav-LARP. You also have the Black Army unique units, which are units that take less damage. And you have some nice event chains around Hungary, as well as your starting dynasty with you and Naples. You can get a nice union on Naples. You can get a union on Provence. You can play around unions. Great starter nation. And that's all I've got to say about it. I'm gonna put it below Naples. The reason, actually, I'll put it even a high B. It's just another reason why I'm not putting it higher is because you don't really have any challenges as Hungary. You're stronger than everyone that you border. You're stronger than Poland, you're stronger than Bohemia, you're stronger than Austria. And then in the hands of a player, before even another nation can consolidate and, you know, maybe challenge you, you're probably going to be just a lot stronger than them. So great starter nation. Would probably great nation in multiplayer, Hungary, great nation in multiplayer as well. But is it like exceedingly fun after that? Besides that, no, not really. I actually even put it below Castile. If you get 0 pops, the location depopulates, so it becomes nothing. Is there late game bosses? France and Mamluks tend to be like, they can be late game bosses. France and Mamluks. France is, if you're near France, it's just, it's a challenge. Chat, if they're not on the list, I haven't played them more than 100 hours. And I don't want to give opinion saying, this is fun.
Bought myself a brand new MacBook M4 a few months ago, just to play EU5. Guess I'm out of luck.
I'll meet a project. Thank you for this up,
watch
dude.
your streams to learn the game, and pray they launch on macOS.
Is France too boring? I just haven't played it. I haven't played England. I haven't played France. That has nothing to do with boring or anything. These are just the nations that I played. All right. Oh. Flashbang. World map. All right. Next, we're going to go into Austria, another high content nation. 140 dynamic historical events, 20 unique country bonuses. You are set up as the Habsburgs to basically have your rise. You also get the Styria event, where you could potentially lose Styria to your one of your sons. Your sons basically break up Austria. They have a very strong position to become the emperor of the HRE and potentially unify the HRE. They are a very nice nation to play. Not recommended first nation to play because they do have some challenges compared to some of the other nations that I recommended. But they do give you an opportunity with your high diplomatic reputation to spread your dynasty. There's no just events in EU5 where it's like, oh, you just have Bohemia as a PU. Oh, you just get Austria as a PU. Oh, you just get Milan as a subjugation. Those don't exist in EU5. A lot of Austria's early game is around focusing, consolidating your region, potentially conquering into northern Italy. And of course, if you get the Holy Roman Empire, if you become the emperor early on, you can stop the Ghibellines. Is it the Guelphs or the Ghibellines? You can basically stop the Italians from leaving the HRE and consolidate power and form the Holy Roman Empire. It's a slog to form the Holy Roman Empire. There's a lot of steps that you need to take in order to form the Holy Roman Empire. And from my testing, the general strategy on Austria, if you want to form the Holy Roman Empire, once you become the emperor, of course, is that you need to have a strong economic base and you need to bribe the electors. Because generally speaking, electors will not vote for any centralization of the HRE unless you bribe them. You can see right away a lot of nations like you already to become the emperor. So when Bavaria dies, you are the most likely candidate to become the emperor because you do not start as the emperor of the HRE. It's actually Upper Bavaria that starts as the emperor of the HRE. But yeah, so because of that, so the way that you unify the HREs, you need to go through all of your laws. You need to have high imperial authority to even pass the laws. And then once you do the laws, you need to use the bribe mechanic to basically get electors to vote for a certain law. You don't see the option right here because I'm not the HRE emperor and I'm also not trying to pass anything right now. But yeah, you basically need to be making money and you need to be rich on your own in order to unify the HRE. From my understanding, there's no way to go around that. That is just the general strategy. Of course, some cracked guy is going to figure out some broken, unintended way to form the HRE on game release. I fully expect that to happen. But the intended way to go about it is that you unify the HRE by basically bribing people to do what you want. And the way it works is that every member has a different power in the HRE. By the way, there's 312 members in the HRE. So you don't have to go around bribing all 312. Generally speaking, if you just bribe the electors, that is enough to get your laws passed. And you have to go through the whole law system in order to do that. I had a save where I got close back when I was testing if it was possible to form the HRE. But that save no longer works. But I've recently played... no, that's not my Austria save. That's from another player's test run. I recently played as Austria to make sure that that mechanic still exists. Rip camera. I'll be up front. I'm not gonna be like just straight up just like chill. But Yeah, HRE needs polishing for sure. The HRE needs polishing for sure. But here you go. You can see that Bohemia is the emperor right now, but I'm in line to become the emperor because Bohemia does get some events to basically put it ahead of Austria to become the next HRE emperor. But by the late 1300s, as Austria, you can become the HRE emperor. And then once you're the emperor of the HRE, you can start passing the laws in the HRE to start unifying the things. So first, you need to pass the seal, the golden bull, and then after that, in order to centralize the HRE, so doing this thing right here, the Holy Roman Emperor needs to bring 5 laws to their full level. 5 laws to their full level, I think, or is it 7? So you need to bring this from no taxation to treasury taxation to direct taxation to imperial taxation. You need to do that with 5 laws. You need to get, I think actually it might be 7. You need 7 emperor comfort policies in order to do it. And that's generally what I think a lot of people who are playing Austria are going to do outside of multiplayer. There will be generally focusing on trying to form the HRE. Now, is it fun? I think that Austria has a lot of potential to be fun. It's not as OP as it was in EU4, but I think that's actually a good thing, believe it or not. And the thing is, though, I think the HRE needs more polishing. I'm going to put Austria just right behind Castile. I don't know. The camp thing is just happening when I load saves. It's just, I don't know. My graphics card is dying because of video encoding. Does the Emperor give similar bonuses to EU4? No, the Emperor is much weaker. The Empire and the Emperor are much weaker until the Emperor passes certain laws. Actually, I'm going to just quickly showcase that right now. Here. Someone chat asks, do I automate? I automate trade except for certain things. Like I would say like half my trade is automated depending on how much trade I have. Like for example, by the end of my Portugal campaign, I would say about 90% of my trades were automated. And then also once you reach a certain size, I automate buildings and RGOs, but I also build on top of them because automate doesn't mean, oh, you can't touch it anymore. AI only touches. No, you both can do things. But yeah, Austria is a big challenge. Bohemia is a big challenge for Austria to start. But here, so let's say we want to pass an imperial law. Let's say we want to do a military contribution. You have to go through this law, then this law, then this law, then this law. And in order to pass this law, we need to get it to pass. You need to get it to pass here first, and then it gets voted on. And a lot of people got confused by this. They're like, it's 100%. It should pass. No, this just means that it gets voted on. So you have a debate to even vote on it. And then once the debate goes through, you need to vote on it. And then you need to get nations to, you need to bribe electors to, in some cases, the electors just don't even want to vote on it. Sometimes, a lot of times, they'll be like, sure, we'll vote on it. And then they'll vote no. But basically, in order as the emperor to get manpower and money from the HRE, you need to pass these laws. It's not like EU4 when you start the game, you just get manpower for being the Holy Roman Emperor. No, that is not the case in EU5. But you can see that different nations have different voting power. Here you go. Different nations have different voting power, but it's electors that basically hold all the power. So if you get electors to vote for what you want through the bribe mechanic, I don't know if it will show here because it's not going to vote. Just a reminder again, this doesn't mean that it's going to pass. This just means that it's going to be voted on. After the parliament goes through, you need to pass voting for it. You need to actually vote for it. But you would go to an elector and you would do bribe voters. So in order to unify the HRE, you need 3 things. You need imperial authority, you need prestige, and you need lots of money. You need lots of prestige and lots of money. And that is a whole process that, you know, you'll take the whole game length to unify the HRE. As far as I'm aware, there's no like speed run way of forming the HRE like there is in EU4. What you think about that? You know, I think every person will have their own take. Can you become an elector as a non-elector? Yeah, you need to have really good, you can buy elector slots. There's events as well. There needs to be an elector not existing, or you need to subjugate an elector. People, I predict there will be people that figure out a way to speed run forming the HRE through like things that got overlooked or through unexpected ways. I expect that. I'm not saying like there will be no way. I'm predicting a month from now, maybe even less, there's gonna be a YouTube video by some random guy, not even potentially a content creator, being like, this is how you do annex all of the HRE in the first 50 years of the game. All right, let's continue. Yeah, look. When I load the game, it's because my graphics card is dying. If you have a 3000 series or below, streaming and video encoding while running EU4 don't work that well, but that's because they're two separate chips. So just FYI if you're trying to stream or record this game. No. Virtus, you know. Lambda speedrun, yeah. Yeah, there is a issue with HDR. I looked into it a little bit. It might be better to turn off HDR when you play EU5. Maybe that's what's happening with some of the guys that are getting a lot of crashes. They have Windows HDR turned on. Yeah, that's another pro advice. Turn off Windows HDR. Turn off Windows HDR. I have it turned off. I was having like weird crashes with Windows HDR turned on and EU5 and playing EU5. Good shout, dude. All right, next nation, Vijayanagar. I actually really like this nation. I think this nation's actually really cool. You have a decent amount of flavor, you know, not like the most heavily flavored nation in the world. I think it ranks as a tier 3 nation in terms of flavor. But wait, let's see if they did it. Okay. Pro advice, if you play Vijayanagar chat, this is the first thing you do. Pro advice right there. Oh, dude. That's the first thing you do, okay? Because as Vijayanagar, you start in between two markets. Doing this, I'll just show you what I mean. I'm just gonna show this real quick. I'm just gonna automate all of this. I'm gonna just do this. This is just for just to show what I mean. And then I'm gonna automate trades. And then I'm also gonna do this. I'm just gonna spam marketplaces. Watch this. We're at 60 ducats of income. Now at 30 ducats of income. We just jumped 10 ducats of income from 30 to 42 and now to 55. And then you also get the rise of Vijayanagar event cycle. Now 67.25. 70 ducat income. So if you play Vijayanagar, make a day one market in Vijayanagar. It like doubles your income. More so. Dude. Oh my god. Alright. So is it fun? I would say Vijayanagar is actually a very fun nation. You're put in a position where you are a nation that can contest Delhi with their fall of Delhi situation. Yeah, it becomes a massive market. It becomes a massive market. It becomes a really nice market. And there's multiple reasons why you do this, not just money. And that comes into the next, this is actually a chatter asked this question. How is getting institutions as Asian nation? Let's say you're playing as Vijayanagar and you want institutions. Well, the gateway to institutions in India and to India specifically is Alexandria, which as Vijayanagar, we can actually trade with day one. We can trade with Alexandria day one. So all we need to do to get the starting institutions as Vijayanagar, which will give you an advantage to the northern Indians, is you just start importing from Alexandria, and that will allow you to get the institutions in Vijayanagar, and that is how you'll get all of your institutions from the game, is Egypt is just sending it to you. And basically, you can keep up in tech very well. Vijayanagar has a lot of tech advances for some reason. Yeah, look, they have a 5% research speed here. They have a 5% research speed here. They have the Library of Vijayanagar Monument, which you get in the first couple of years of the game, which give another 5% research speed. You can also invite religious scholars that give another 5% research speed. We don't have one right now. You also have the yoga religious figure that gives pop growth. Then in the Age of Reformation, you have Holy, which also gives pop growth. And also as India, you start with locations with max pop. So day one, you do this. You just immediately just spam irrigations, not farming villages. Day one, you just spam irrigations because these locations aren't growing in pop because they're pop capped. So that's fine. You just make irrigations. Irrigations, irrigations, irrigations. This one doesn't have a river. Irrigations, irrigations, irrigations. And then to top it off, you also have the Bund building. I think it's here. Which also gives more food production. And also, the building gives food production and local population capacity. So you can get insane pops as Vijayanagar. And, you know, you are in a great position to take on Delhi and their fall of Delhi situation. You can take on, you can get the Bahmanas. You can get Bahmanas through an event. There's an event that when Bahmanas spawn, that you lay claim to it, and if you have good relations with Bahmanas, they have a chance of immediately becoming your vassal. You have unique subject types in India called the Samanta and the Praha Samanta, and the Super Praha Samanta. That's not its name. And it's actually really fun. It's a really fun area to play in. It is a really cool area with a lot of things to do. For that reason, I'm actually going to give Vijayanagar a low S. It's actually really fun. I really liked playing Vijayanagar. It was outside of Delhi. It was it was the only Indians that I've played, and I even played towards the late 1700s. If that was the case, if that was the case, Nitras, you wouldn't be able to get the early institutions as India. Is that really what you want? Yeah, and you can see 126 million pops. I'm integrating Jampur. Oh my god. India experience right here, chat. Yeah, India is actually a lot of fun. I heard also Orisa's a lot of fun, but I haven't played them. Right now, Bengal doesn't have any flavor. But if you play as... right now, it's like Vijayanagar and Orissa and Delhi are like the three Indians with the most content. There's a gold cap of 999. Yeah, you can see my income is going crazy, but I also have who the hell is that? I have Revolution Brewing in Baharat. What does control look like? This is what my control looks like. There's also a lot of rivers in India. Holy rivers. So controlling these large swaths of land and population is so good, dude. It is so good, man. Look at that control. 100, 100. I moved my capital to Golconda. I was debating this with generalists, like where is a good spot in India to have your capital? I chose Golconda because, you know, I was playing Vijayanagar. A lot of my power base was right here. If we look at tax base, I made a super gold province. Oh my god. Trade income needs like probably a month tick to readjust. But yeah, you have insane armies. I have 2 million manpower. If you are able to consolidate India, you just become super strong. Something to note is the Bharat or the India tag is the same as the Hindustan tag. It's just if you have a different religion. So like if I'm Muslim, if I even like switch to Muslim right now, actually, I wonder if I can change the game rule since this is not Iron Man. Yeah. Yeah. See, I just changed to Hindustani Empire, and then you wait on the month tick, it will change again. Yeah, 32,000. I'm gaining 32,000 a month. Pop growth going crazy, and I actually even have in this campaign I really focus on population capacity and min-maxing certain locations, like the gold one, for example, the Mugdal. So I actually, because actually a lot of Indian locations start pop capped, but if you micromanage that with irrigations, with the bund building that is unique to Vijayanagar, you go insane, dude. It goes insane. Definitely a really fun campaign, and I give it a low S tier. Below Muscovy, Ottomans, and Venice. S tier, Vijayanagar. Yeah, I really enjoyed doing QAs for Paradox. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it being part of the process that is giving you guys the game tomorrow. And I'm still contracted till the end of December, so I'm still working QA until the end of December. I really enjoyed it. Everyone at the Tinto office is actually they're really cool and really amazing people. I really enjoyed it. Everyone that I like reported to gave me like good time of day. I was involved with a lot of discussions on content, on balance. A lot of things in the game that I had, I gave my say on it, which was really cool. From day one, I would like India to start trade with Egypt, but they traded with Egypt day one though, historically. Are you planning on renewing the contract? January, I don't think I'm gonna renew QA. I think I'm still gonna work on the community end. I've been really enjoying that. I think I will continue that if Paradox want me to. Inside agent. I was involved with a lot of the flavor relating to Islam in the game, dude. I had to, man. I got overruled when it came to the jurisprudence and mysticism. My idea for jurisprudence and mysticism was that you want to be in the middle. It should be a societal value that you want to be in the middle. But by a game design aspect, it would literally be the only societal value where it's like beneficial to be right in the middle. But you can sneak in MP balance. Yeah, I already told you guys this. Johan is an MP guy. He's like, MP is a priority. MP is a priority. That's Johan. I didn't have anything to do with that. That was all Johan. Johan is a cool guy. I really enjoyed talking to Johan. All right, let's finish up. Delhi. Oh, brother. This is like Yuan, but better. Okay? You have a starting ruler as... Oh, I'm loading the game. You have a starting ruler as Delhi, where a lot of negative events are triggered by the ruler. I'm just waiting for this to pass because it's making noise. Alright, dude, I get it. So starting as Delhi, you start with a mad ruler. He even looks like he's crazy, which give you some funny events. Like you get a really funny event where you get a CB on Yuan. If you notice, Delhi doesn't have a border with Yuan. This happened in real life. The ruler of Delhi was like, "We need to go invade China." So you do get a CV as I think the events are pretty funny. Trying to like hold on to Delhi is actually more of an enjoyable experience as Yuan. It's still painful, but it is more plausible to do it. I think you start as 100 inflation as Delhi. Yep.
Hello Habibi, how is life going?
So this is your starting situation. Hey, thank you for the sub, dude. Transmarigold. I'm doing good, dude. Thank you for asking. I really appreciate that. This is your starting situation as Delhi. And even you gotta just give this day one if you want to make this work. Monthly inflation. You gotta give that day one. Your legitimacy is already low. You could try to cheese the negative events by trying to kill this guy day one. So like you see you have a boat here. You just put your ruler on the boat. You wait for him to arrive and then you just send him here and hope he dies. If not, you just keep doing that over and over again until he dies. But do you really want to cheese that? Then you don't get CBs on Yuan. I think you get those like day one. Oh, he died day one. Okay, so I'm not going to get the negative events. Alright, easy game. Easy game, dude. Yeah, time to rule as Delhi. Oh my god. This nation's funny. This nation's funny. Would I say necessarily fun? Yeah, it can be pretty fun. I'd put it as a high C tier. Actually, you know what? I'm contemplating. Let's just put it as C tier. Impromptu Delhi game. Fuck the tier list. Yeah. You get some really goofy events around the ruler. You get some goofy events around the ruler, like CBs against Yuan. It is a challenge to like come back from this position. I think it's more of a fun challenge than Yuan's challenge to like maintain control. You also have your situation, the fall of Delhi, which if we unpause the game, we'll be getting. You also have to manage low stability, low unrest, and bad income to start, which requires a lot of like economic and country buildup and country maxing in order to make work. And then yeah, we're actually getting a succession crisis. There is another cheese where you can delay the fall of Delhi. Oh no, maybe it got fixed. There used to be another cheese where you can delay the fall of Delhi disaster by triggering a succession crisis. But I'm glad, I think it got removed. But yeah, you get the fall of Delhi situation and you need to basically maintain hold over India, and you're going to get a bunch of states that get rebellious. And You do not have levies. You do have levies. Okay. All right. So you do get the levies, but you do also get professional troops day one. That got changed. That got changed actually. Yeah, you can make a building that gives you that, but you need slaves, so you need to ship in slaves to become your army, basically. Yeah. So I put Delhi at a C. I put it even higher than Brandenburg. Like I said, I need to replay Brandenburg and go all the way to the end game with them to like properly evaluate them. I probably shouldn't even put them on this list, but for now, this is what it looks like. The the barracks give, Mamluk barracks, they give 10 manpower, but they only employ slaves. Like, we have 90k slaves here. So this is a great location for a bunch of Mamluk barracks. But we need to spread out the slaves. Right now, there's no manual way to move slaves. There's a way that the generalist taught me to move slaves. What you do is you ship slaves to here, and then from here you ship slaves to here. So basically it redistributes your slaves. That's like one way to do that. Pro advice right there. So you're trading slaves between two markets, and then they'll go where they're needed. So what you can do is you can build the Mamluk barracks, and then the slaves over time will start going into those buildings. You can also just ship in slaves from other locations. Yeah. No! Alright, last two nations that I played. Can I show off the unique content of Kyiv? If one other person says, can you show off the content of Kyiv, I'll do it right now. I show Kyiv. W Kyiv. Yo, someone help Abdurrahman 240123 chat. Someone help that guy. I don't know, brother. Someone help him. 0 unique advances, 11 dynamic historical events. Ruthenia. No unique advances. Let's see one thing though. Okay, you get 10 unique advances for being Ruthenian culture. Alright, wait. We get 10 unique advances for being Ruthenian culture. Stability, trade advantage, max literacy, tolerance of true faith, separatism, monthly literacy, town and city migration, tolerance of heretics, urban buildings cost, prosperity recovery, that's big, culture tradition, rural building costs, max literacy for peasants, max, ooh, that's also big, education for all Ruthenians. Then you get 37 unique advances for being Orthodox, Orthodox OP again, who keeps doing this chat, and that's their unique content. 11 historic country events. What do you think about the Golden Horde? I haven't played them. I haven't played the Golden Horde. There was one guy on every single YouTube post on the main channel and every forum post that said, haha, guys, am I weird and quirky for wanting to play Tall Golden Horde? Guys, what do you think? Guys, do you think Tall Golden Horde would work? Guys, I think I'm such a weird guy for wanting to play Tall Golden Horde. What was up with that guy, chat? How's Province War Score cost? It's a combination of pop and control. You gonna play Tall Golden Horde? Yeah. I need to put that on the playlist. Tall Golden Horde. Controls like autonomy, yeah. Works differently though. I need to put that on the playlist now. So it's very hard to conquer China and India, basically. China and India. India, it's hard to conquer China or India if they're a consolidated power with high control. So later in the game, it's harder to conquer India and China. But early in the game, it's easier to conquer India and China because there's two... Like, if you're playing... Timurids is in, like, the perfect position to conquer India and China and Persia in the first 100 years of the game. 50 years of the game, even. You conquer China, you conquer India, you conquer Central Asia Steppe. Wait. I wonder if the save still works. Let me look. One second. I want to see if the save works. Wait. Back. My crash log, by the way, since October. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10. Eight. The save might not work. This is an old save. Look at this. Look at in-game year. Now show the control map mode. Um, you don't need control. You just need conquest. Now show culture. Let's show integration map mode. This might take a while to integrate, dude. You can recruit generals, but it's really expensive, dude. This needs to get reduced. It's okay, we make money from something. Alright. No, you can stabilize it. You're just gonna be like a... You can stabilize it. It will take a long time, but you just need to keep the conquest going. You just need to keep the conquest going, chat. As long as Timur is alive, we just need the conquest going and going and going and going and going. When Timur dies, you lose a bunch of buffs. You lose a bunch of buffs when Timur dies. But yeah, you need to... If you play as Timur, you need to make the most out of it. Alright. Next. We're gonna go look at Mamluks. So last two nations here, we have Mamluks. Mamluks are really strong for one reason only. They could have 0 advances, they could have 0 country, but they could still be really strong. Why? They have a huge population base around their capital. Cairo has 547,000 people, and it is all rivers. It is all rivers. All rivers. All rivers right here. See? So because of that, their control is really consolidated. Of course, the control here is not that good, but it doesn't matter. We have a huge amount of population where we have consolidation of very high control in the early game. This lends to the Mamluks being very strong in the early game and just a very strong nation. Arguably, and they have no disaster. So unlike the other 2 big dogs in the game, or 3 actually, because you have Delhi, who has the fall of Delhi disaster. You have Yuan, who has the fall, who has the Red Turban Rebellion, and you have Ashikaga, who have Sengoku Jedi situation. You have nothing as Mamluks. So in the hands of a player, this is probably the most broken nation in the game. Does that mean it's fun? For me, like the same thing with Castile, this lends to being kind of boring. You're just really strong. You are just a really strong nation. Our income looks a bit scuffed right now because it's not balanced. But, you know, and you also have one of the best trade nodes, and trade markets in the game, Alexandria. Alexandria is really strong because you can trade with almost all the Europeans and you can trade with all the Indians. So you basically are the gateway to the East, and that lends you to being giga rich, super rich, very early on in the game. So in the hands of the player, this nation is really strong. It's a really good nation. You can basically, as this nation, there's one big downside though when it comes to control. One very big downside when it comes to control. It's these locations right here. These locations right here and also this desert right here, cause you to lose control in the Red Sea. So even though you have a capital right here, it's very hard to control this area of Arabia. You can get generally more control around here. And like I was saying earlier, the nature of having a big population base around a singular river point and with the river mechanics and the pop mechanics, this lends to you being quite a strong nation. Very, very strong nation. And for that reason, I feel like they are just too easy. I feel that Mamluks in the future needs some kind of situations, making them. I saw the suggestion by Lex to make them a army-based country. I think that it could work if they had like a special status, because there's a lot of other debuffs related to being a military-based country. Is the Suez Canal in the game? No, there's no Suez Canal in the game. So for that reason, I'm putting them at high C. Like, yeah, I guess it could be fun just dominating. Some people, again, power fantasies, whatever. But you can essentially, what you can do as Mamluks is you can move your capital to Alexandria, build high maritime presence, and then have like a really strong Mediterranean, Eastern Mediterranean empire where you have high control across the entire Mediterranean. Downside of moving your capital from Cairo to Alexandria is you're no longer on this, you're no longer have this really powerful downstream control from Cairo going down here, because this is upstream, this is downstream, because the Nile flows north. You can see right here, if we hover over control, from here to here, proximity cost of going downstream on a river, minus 30. Proximity through land, base is 40. Downstream through river is 30. It's huge. It's huge, 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 huge. But if you end up like wanting to like get Constantinople and conquer Anatolia, and you want to have control over Lebanon and over Palestine and over Syrian coast, you can do that. And you can be very strong. I think in the hands of the player, this nation is probably the strongest due to the fact that it has no disaster or situation that other big nations like Delhi, Yuan, Ashikaga have to deal with, or Golden Horde have to deal with. And that's not even covering their unique advances. As being they start with the Mamluks barracks, which means they can have a professional army day one. We already looked at the Mamluk barracks on Delhi, but you can see right here, Mamluk barracks, it employs slaves. Immediately you can generate manpower right even before having professional armies, so you can have a giga strong army day one. You also have unique units like the early Mamalik and the later Mamalik, and it is pretty good. You can get targeted by a crusade. There was a patch where crusades happened nonstop. Luckily, that got removed. But yeah, you can get targeted by a crusade, and they will try to go for Palestine, and then you'll have to fight basically like all of Europe. But let's just say that it's not that challenging, even if it's all of Europe, because they will land piecemeal. It's like fighting a crusade in Crusader Kings 3. They don't coordinate well. You can just go up and down and destroy them. Is Lebanon a releasable? Anyways, switch out. You cannot remove the Mamluk government. It's locked in. But yeah, that's why I placed them as a fun tier list as C, because I feel that they might be like too stompy, too strong in the hands of a player. Even in the hands of AI, they always are strong by the end game. All right. Let's end this here. All right, last nation, and this might surprise you. This is the Ayyubids. These little guys right here. Zero unique content events or content, but because they're part of the Iranian culture group, which they used to not be, but due to community feedback, they did get added to the Iranian group. So keep your feedback, chat. That's what I keep saying to you guys, is that the developers do read a lot of the feedback that you post on the Paradox forums. But you get a lot of access to unique events, unique content due to being in the Iranian culture group. You also get Asia stuff as well as Islam stuff. But this nation has zero content, but I find them fun purely because of the name. Okay. This is going back to like old days of EU4, where you would pick a nation not because it has the biggest mission tree, or not because it has the most OP events and ideas, but simply because you like their color and you like their name and you like their flag. That's literally it. And another fun bonus to this is that, of course, you have you get to play around the Euphrates. You have a big challenges all around you. You're literally the weakest nation. To your north is a vassal blob. To your east is a vassal blob. To your south, this is actually always going to be your first target, is a Turkish Beylik. And then to your west, you have the Mamluks, who are a scary monster. Just based off the situation, I think this nation, to me personally, I just been really enjoying playing them, and I find that really surprising, because you would expect, oh, no content means it's gonna be a boring nation, but just because of the way that the game mechanics work and the things you have to deal with and all these other things, it ends up being fun. And for that reason, I actually give it an A. This is really crazy. I find this nation really fun, which is why I'm doing a run with them. Even more so than some of these other nations. Isn't that crazy, chat? Again, this just shows you that this is a subjective... Oh, my camera's bugged still. Subjective tier list. Don't take this to heart. This is my own personal opinion. What I thought was fun. You might think that keeping Yuan altogether is fun. You might think that 500 years of speed 5 playing as Greenland with 1,000 pops is fun. You might find dealing with Brandenburg's starting situation and playing to the late game as a small nation is fun. This is all up to you as a player, what you think is fun. But this is my personal take. I basically laid it out to you guys why I think it's fun and why I think these are good nations. And yeah, this is my tier list. This will, of course, get updated with time. I want to play Brandenburg again. I definitely want to play Brandenburg again. I might try Granada again, but I'm waiting for the Iberian DLC, which will come out next year. And I will also play more Japanese daimyos. I really want to do that. Other campaigns that I want to try, I really want to try Sweden. I really want to try the Knights Hospitalier and like try to form Jerusalem. I really want to... Well, now I have to play Tall Golden Horde, apparently. According to chat, I have to play Tall Golden Horde. I want to do Timurids. I really want to do Timurids. I want to see how much I can conquer with Timurids. Maybe even go for a world conquest attempt, because I genuinely think world conquest is possible in EU5. I genuinely think so. Will it be a fun experience? I don't know. There you go. But yeah, but that's it. For now, chat, let's get into... I right now have a Ayyubids campaign going, which will be on YouTube when I complete the campaign, when I reach it to its fruition. Right now, my goal is to basically restore Salah ad-Din's legacy, basically own all of the lands that Salah ad-Din owned by the end of his death. So if you want to watch that, watch it on the stream, or wait for that YouTube video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.